Morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Morning. Morning.
Natasha?
Morning, Natasha.
Yes, of course. Yes.
Oh, you're here. Hey. Welcome, my darling. Right. My presenters are here. Let's get this thing rolling. Good morning. Welcome. I should say good morning, good evening, good night, good day. Welcome, everybody. I'm going to ask one of my Rudy, my co-host, to mute people, please. Right, I don't want to hear any rustling in the background. So wherever you are in the world, good morning. 8 o'clock in the morning is a good time to rock. Yes, early risers, welcome. And thank you for joining us on this fantastic platform. This is the third in the Queen's series, and what a phenomenal journey we have been on. So in week 1, we had Queen's Black Hair Rocks. And did we rock on that platform? Absolutely awesome. Saturday gone, we had Queens. It's funny, the menopause, we ain't crazy. And what a wealth of knowledge and conversation and sharing of stories. It was so empowering. And I know that I have to do that particular, the past 2 events, I'll have to do them again in probably a different format. But it's been absolutely amazing, wonderful that, all these people are coming together on these platforms just to share and empower us. And I think in a time like this, we need to be sharing, loving, and empowering each other to the max.
Joan, you're on mute.
Gone on to mute.
On mute again, Joan.
Gone on to mute. It's
Oh no, she's on mute.
Still on mute, Joan.
You've gone on to.
Yeah, no, it's muted.
Right. Okay. Did you hear what I was saying before?
No.
What did you hear up to? Did you hear anything that I said?
A little bit.
Where did you hear up to?
About the last minute. We missed the last minute or so.
You told us about the last 3 weeks.
Oh, have I told you about Queen's Black Hair Rocks?
Menopause and the hair. Yeah.
All right. Okay. So as I was saying, those events were absolutely amazing, and I will be running them in perhaps a different formats again. So, Queens, we have so much to talk about, so much to explore. But this morning, we are the Queens breaking the silence. Let's talk Black mental health. Yeah, I'm truly humbled and honoured. I want to welcome today's speakers who are part of the NHS frontline workforce. These are individuals who put their lives on the front line every day for each and every one of us. And I commend and I applaud and I thank them because it's keeping it real and they're out there doing it every day. Today we will be discussing the different ways in which we can try and manage our mental health. And could I just ask people to I want to give the NHS staff a little clap. And a big thank you from all of us. So today we will be discussing the different ways in which we can take care of our mental health, individually, in relationship with others, and within our Black community. This week's session will touch on the following areas: the importance of nurturing your mental health, how to distinguish between general sadness and depression, how does a mental health illness or episode occur, do people recover from mental health issues and episodes, and can we change the stigma, the discrimination, and attitudes towards people with mental health. I want to give a big call out to my speakers so you know they're here in the house. Natasha May, can you say hello and introduce yourself, my darling? Is Natasha there?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, hi, my name is Natasha May. It's absolutely a pleasure to be here so early in the morning. Thank you.
Welcome, welcome. And where are you? I mean, you're not in the Grand Canyon or somewhere.
I wish I was, Joan. I wish I was. You can see me with my mask on. I'm actually at work, so I'm doing this before I start work.
Oh, God bless you. Thank you so much. Really, really appreciate it.
Absolutely a pleasure. Absolutely a pleasure.
You know, you are on the front line doing
I sure am. I sure am.
my darling. Rudy.
Thank you.
Page.
Good morning, everyone. Morning. My name's Rudy Page. I'm one of those who support the frontline workers in terms of how the system works. Also do a lot of work in empowering patients to get involved in the NHS and help them navigate the system, and also encourage the faith communities to get involved in the mental health system as well. So just to say, this is a great forum, and we're also broadcasting live on Fresh FM Radio London. Go to tune in, click on Fresh FM Radio London, and you'll pick this up live for the next 2 hours at least.
Wonderful. Thank you, Rudy. And we have our wonderful GP, Dr. Aziza Sesay.
Hey everyone, hi, good morning. I'm so honored to be here. Wow, I'm Dr. Aziza Sesay. As Joan said, I'm a GP and I'm really excited. I can't believe how many people have tuned in this morning and they are prioritizing their mental health. I'm so excited to give this lecture.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you, my darling. Naomi, where are you, Queen?
Hi, good morning. It's just like everybody said, I'm just so happy to be here. Excuse my throat, the early morning crustiness, but as the time goes on, a little bit more hot water and lemon, I'll be speaking nicer. But thank you so much. I'm going to be talking about some of the research, so I really look forward to engaging with everybody. Thank you, Joan, for putting this together. It's amazing. Thank
welcome.
you.
I'm just so pleased and honoured that you could be with us. Thank you, my darling. And Belinda, another one of our fantastic frontline people. Belinda, I think she's on mute. Belinda.
Yes, I'm here. Hello, everyone. So I'm so happy to be part of this vibrant program. I'd rather spend my morning here than anywhere else. So my name is Belinda. I'm a registered mental health nurse, but also very passionate about raising awareness among the Black communities, especially churches. So I'm just happy to be here. I've spent a chunk of my career, about 10 years of them, managing risk, working at A&E, meeting people in crisis. So I will be focusing on how we can sort of help ourselves not to get there, but just glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
Welcome. Thank you so much. So there you have it, guys. We have some phenomenal, brilliant, amazing speakers this morning for you. So let's kick off. Natasha May, are you ready for us, darling?
I think I am. Bear with me a second. I'm going to have to share my screen. Okay, so bear with me a second.
Can I just ask a quick question, my darling?
Okay, bear with me a second.
Yeah, just need to know, so do people with mental health recover from the illnesses and episodes fully, or is there always a bit of the mental health cycle like hanging on?
Wow, that's a powerful question. It's a question I've been thinking about for a very long time, actually. From an occupational therapy perspective, my answer is yes. People can recover from mental illness. People need to recognize what mental illness is for them. They need to recognize their triggers, and they need to be able to get the appropriate support that's needed. Like anything in life, you have your blips, depending on what's triggered your blips, but there's always hope and there's always recovery.
Good. Thank you. That's given us a lot of us, a lot of hope. That's wonderful.
And I hope the presentation that I do today will show ways of how you can manage that mental well-being as well.
Fantastic.
Okay, so bear with me. Let me go and share my screen. I'm not technology savvy, but here it goes. So
there.
Can you see it? Okay, can everyone see that? Can everyone hear me? Yeah? Okay,
yes, we can see.
Okay, can everyone hear me clearly? Can I get a yes or something?
Yeah, after you. We can see it, Natasha.
Okay, I'm thinking people can hear me. I'm not too sure.
They
Bear with
can.
me a
They
second.
can.
Let me
Yeah.
come back up to here. Can I just get a tick? Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
I can't hear you. So I'm thinking that everyone can hear me.
Yeah, everyone's on mute.
Oh, brilliant,
So
brilliant,
we
brilliant.
don't
Thanks,
get any
Joan.
interruptions, yeah?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay, let's kick off. So as I was introduced, my name is Natasha May. I'm a senior occupational therapist, and I'm also a performance coach, and I'm on the front line right now at work. So if you hear any alarms or bells go off, I do apologize. I might just need to dip out and dip back in. Okay, so what I'm going to be talking about today is what is mental health. Talk a little bit about occupational therapy, looking at our occupation, and I'm going to focus more on self-management and give you some goodies to take away, which is a well-being toolkit. So get your pens and paper ready, guys. Okay, the big talk, what is mental health? We all have times when we feel sad, we feel low, or we feel frightened. Most of the time, these feelings will pass, but sometimes they develop into a more serious problem that can happen to any one of us. We're all different, and we all have different coping skills. You may bounce back from a setback, while someone else may be weighed down for it for a long time. And this could be anything. I'll go into that in the next slide. Your mental health doesn't always stay. So back to the first question, there is hope and there is recovery. Different life events, though, can trigger a mental illness in a person, especially if they're predisposed to it or there's a family link to it. According to an amazing charity called Mine, the following factors can affect your mental health: childhood trauma, neglect, or even abuse, social isolation, loneliness, or social withdrawal, the death of someone close to you, severe and long-term stress, unemployment, losing a job, poverty and debt, poor housing, low mood, negative moods, low self-esteem, poor housing. The ones I've highlighted is the one that I've experienced in my life. So I've experienced trauma, definitely experienced some debt issues, and definitely experienced some low self-esteem. I'm dyslexic also as well, so I've had connection with all of those. So I don't only sit here as a clinician, I've also sit here as someone who's had some personal experience as well. What are the steps to recovery? Recognition. Recognizing what your triggers are, learning about yourself, learning what triggers anger, learning what puts you off balance, should I say. So you know when you're feeling well, but you know when your start is slightly to feel unwell, okay? Mental health is a journey of healing and transformation, enabling a person to live a meaningful life while striving to achieve his or her potential, wherever that may be for that individual. My role as an occupational therapist, I look at the whole person, their mental health, their physical health, and their well-being, and I enable individuals to reach their full potential, engaging in meaningful occupation that can promote good mental health and assist with recovery and helping people to achieve whatever outcomes they want to achieve. Occupation, you may be like, what on earth is occupation? Occupation, that's a fancy clinical term, but when we break it down, it just means activities that help people to vitalize their mental health and their well-being. And this could be anything from cleaning the house, washing the dishes, cooking, singing, talking about your problems. I'm going to emphasize that, talking about our problem. As Black people, we don't like to talk. We think, nah, leave everything to the side, pull it under the carpet, but we need to start talking about things that are troubling us. Doing things that you enjoy, walking in a group or alone, artwork. Got my artwork here if everyone can see it. This is what I've been doing in my lockdown time. Exercising, having a bath. All of these for occupational therapists formulate into self-management, engaging in productivity and social interaction. And what I'm going to focus here today is really on the self-management. Your wellness toolkit, we all need to have a wellness toolkit. So get your pens and paper ready, guys. Here we go. A lot of the times what affects, from my experience, people's mental well-being is worrying. We worry about the future. We worry about the past. We worry about things that we have no control over. And with good mental health, you need to stay in the here and the now. So these are little strategies that I use myself, my colleagues use it, and my clients use it. And it's basically the worry tree. Really start to sit and ask yourself, what am I worrying about? Really answer yourself that question. Is there anything that I can do? And in your brain, you have to then decide for yourself, no, I can't do anything about worry. Then you stop worrying and you need to find something to distract yourself. Or yes, I can do something about it. Then you need to work out what you can do and find ways of dealing with it and talking to people about it. Then you need to start to ask yourself, is there anything I can do right now in this moment? If your answer is yes, you can, then stop the worrying and start to distract yourself. If the answer is no, then you need to sit down with someone and put a plan together. One of the things that we do is, I hope everyone can see that, is called I'm worrying about what? And we write these down for ourselves and the clients, and we'll leave it, because 9 out of 10, when you write it down, your mind goes somewhere else. You come back and you're like, what was I worrying about? Okay. I know it's easier said than done, but we have to get into a habit. It's not going to come easy. Definitely didn't come easy for me, but you have to get into a habit. And then once you get into that habit, it becomes a cycle. Self-awareness, guys. We need to be aware and consciously aware of our thought process. What are we thinking? How does this affect how we feel? Because if we don't acknowledge your thought process, it can then lead to your emotion. From your emotions of anger, guilt, fear, shame, that will have an effect on your behavior. You will start to notice, may or may not, should I say, that you might have low energy. You might not want to get up in the morning. You might not want to talk on the phone. These are things that you start to notice about yourself, and you bring it back to the thought. What am I thinking right now? Is it a positive thought or a negative thought? So again, bringing it back down to yourself and start to think about the way you think. When you have these thoughts, simple word, stop it. Yeah, stop means take a break, observe, pull back, practice what works for you. Take a breath, okay? I can't emphasize the importance of just breathing, because we have, our brain is like a washing machine on 101 cycle, just going round and round and round. We know this, but you need to take time to breathe, observe, pull it back, and practice what's worked. What's helpful for you right now in this situation? Okay, what can you focus your attention on? Whether that's going for a walk, speaking to a friend, or speaking to someone else. Okay, and really, really hone in this moment. What can you do right now in this moment? We all like to shop from time to time, so you need to select your thoughts the same way you select your clothes every day. This is a power that you can cultivate. You think you've got no power, you do have the power, and you can select the thoughts. Again, it's a practice and it's a process. Different types of self-care. It's like, for me, it's like diving into your own wellness, having time out to really get to know who you are. Physical activity, going for a walk, stretching, yoga, resting, eating. Emotional, checking on your level of stress, and most importantly, guys, be kind to yourself. Get your support system. I have a great support system, but it hasn't always been like that. I've had to cultivate and carve out friendship, carve out people that I can speak to. And I put my hand up, I check in regular with a therapist. Absolutely essential for us to do. And spirituality is down there as having that time for yourself, connecting with nature and writing things down. Nature may not be for you as it is for me, but finding something just to get into that Zen place and find some form of peace and balance. Again, this is something that's up on the agenda right now. It's all about mindfulness and meditation. There's a lot of things on YouTube. There's a lot of things on Google. Check them out. Creating a time and space in your home, setting yourself a little timer, getting yourself into a nice position. I know you may have the children around, the hubby around, but saying I need to take a break is very, very important. Again, can't emphasize on the breathing, because when we're in a stress level, we do shadow breathing, but actually we need to be bringing it all the way down to the belly button, okay? A lot of things online, please check those out. And always be kind to yourself, okay? This is it, goals. We need to have a focus in life. Our goal should be our mental health, because without mental well-being, okay, everything else is gonna falter. Speak your authentic truth to yourself. If you're struggling, speak to somebody. If you have no one to speak to, there's resources out there that you can find someone to speak to. There's always options in life. Please never think because I'm struggling with my mood, there's no option. There's always option, and there's always a way forward. We're just gonna find those way forward and speak to people, okay? Can't emphasize a lot about the positive self-talk, okay? Whatever negative thoughts you may have, or even unhelpful thoughts, actually, this won't last forever. It's okay to feel the way how you're feeling. Keep calm and carry on. Even if you feel I've got no motivation, I've got no energy, feel what you're feeling, but still take one step every day to carry on. Be creative, listen to music. The book I've been reading at the moment is Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway, an amazing book. Get active, get dancing, limit social media and the news, because this will drive your anxiety and your stress levels sky high. Find time to relax, yeah? Positive self-talk leads to the behavioral change that you want. Self-compassion, my favorite. Being kind to yourself. It has not always been easy, but it's definitely something worth tapping into. Label your emotions. If you're feeling anger, frustration, guilt, or shame, label it, okay? Feel the emotion, feel the rage. I'm constantly, when I'm in anger or rage, I feel it, I name it, and then I can do something about it. Because guys, if we don't, those negative thoughts will lead us into despair, where you're feeling hopeless, helpless, or even suicide. I think one of my colleagues is going to talk about that, so I won't go too much into the suicide element, but look after you and keep you safe, okay? Sometimes when we have these negative moods, you feel like there's a word, it's on like the black dog of depression, where you feel like you're just in a whirlpool, a storm, but you don't know how to get out of it. Get yourself centered and balanced, and you will find a way out of it. Okay, a little bit of resources here. Men out there, there's support groups for you to be able to attend as well. Men advocacy, you've got Mind, an amazing charity, and Mood Juice, giving you information about sleep, anxiety, confidence, and difficulties. Recognizing for yourself what is affecting your mental. If you notice that you're not sleeping, pay attention to that. If you know you're not eating, pay attention to that. If you know that you're starting to withdraw, pay attention. It's all about paying attention. From paying attention, you start to increase your awareness. What are the signs of good mental health? Taking care of your body. Okay, we've only got one body, and we've only got one life. So you've got to take care of the mind in order to take care of the body. Set yourself goals, okay? And knowing how to relax. If your shoulders are up like that, you're going to know that actually you're going to walk tall, okay? You're going to walk like the queens that we are, and you're just going to relax and take one step at a time. And develop and maintain your meaningful relationships. People out there will understand. You'd be surprised talking to someone like, you know what? I feel the same way. I'm feeling angry. I'm feeling frustrated. Have real, honest conversation with ourselves, because there's no point hiding things away and putting a smile on. Yeah, everything's all right. It's not okay. I'm angry right now. Name it, talk about it. And in summary, guys, listen, we all have roadblocks in life, okay, that affects our mental health and our physical health. This can lead us down a little slippery path. So keep yourself grounded like a tree and focus on the way forward, and use those strategies. Because remember, anxiety, loss, depression, and low mood and frustration, you can start to sweep them out the way. But you first need to know what's affecting you. My name is Natasha May. Thank you very much. Learn how to switch off. Do something for you. Thank you very much, guys.
Oh, Natasha.
I don't really know how to come out of this now. I think I'll stop sharing my screen. Oh, here we go.
You're back. We're
back.
Oh my gosh, fantastic. I've got a few quick questions. The toolkit that you spoke about, is it something that you can just look up online somewhere? Where could we get that from?
Well, you know what? This is from the OTs that I work with. So what I would say is hook me up on the details or contact yourself, and I can send these packs out to you. Not a problem. They're here at disposal, so I can send them out to people. And we've got electronic copies as well, so I can send them.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, because that's so handy, because even if you can't use it for yourself, you know what I mean, you can pass it on to somebody. So it's really good to know that these resources are out there.
There you go. Knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. Let's share the love and let's share the power.
And I love the thing, stop.
Stop it.
That before. Yeah.
Stop it.
Yes. You talk yourself into.
People who know me on people who know me on here will know that I'm always using quotes, but sometimes you have that negative. Like I told you yesterday, Joe. I was feeling, I don't know if I'm feeling anxious. I don't know how much people. I don't know if I'm going to come across good. I just say to myself, stop it. What evidence have you got? What are you saying to yourself that you can't do this right now? When you take time out, you go back, you find the evidence that you can. Yes, start telling people. If people are talking to you guys about their feeling, emotion, you realize it's a cycle, just say, stop it.
Yeah.
Breathe. They might think you're rude though, but just tell them, no, it's coming from somewhere. It's coming from somewhere.
Yeah. And what I also liked, you know, was, I mean, I always say, you know, it's good to talk. It's good to talk.
You
know,
it's
when
very good to
this
talk.
WhatsApping, texting, email, you must pick up your phone sometimes and talk to people.
Definitely.
So that's a really, really, really good tip. I'm here with my pen and paper making.
You got it? Good.
And my darling, you spoke about exercise. What if you know I'm the exercise queen?
Yes, I do
a
boxing.
lot of my queens are on here, walking, etc.
Yes,
but exercise is so key. It gets a lot of the stresses and things out of your life.
Yes.
So wonderful, beautiful.
And just before you go, sometime as well, guys, just very quickly, we don't understand what's going on in our mind. That's okay. Don't try and sit there and figure it out. Do something moving. Just keep moving, and in time you will start to understand the thought. Just get moving. That's all I would say to people. Go to the gym, box it out, run it out. Phone someone. I've got one of my girls on here, Miss J. Phone someone and do some walking. Get a motivational coach. Get a mentor. Whatever it is, just keep moving and keep checking in, guys.
Yes. Come and join the Queen's Walking group in South East.
Hey, I'm coming. Whoa. Southeast. You need to come up to these sides. Come up to these sides.
Natasha May, you have been absolutely magnificent.
Thank you, guys. Thank
We're
you.
on fire now this morning.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
That's all right. Pleasure.
Right, moving on to our next. This man, I tell you, once he gets going, Rudy Page, another of our phenomenal speakers. Where is he? Is he on mute? Rudy, are you on mute? Or are you the next? I'm sure you're the next one on my list. Yeah. Rudy, can you hear me? Rudy. Oh, where is he?
The host has to unmute him, apparently, maybe.
Yeah, I'm just looking for him. He's here. I think he's muted him, hasn't he? Oh, wow. And it's over 200 of you at the moment. Where is this him? Where is he? Right.
Right. Thank you very much.
And I don't know if you heard any of that.
Yes, I did.
Right.
I was shouting, unmute me, unmute me.
Platform is yours, my darling. So what are you going to be talking to us about? Oh, I do have a quick question for you.
Yes.
I don't know if you can answer this though. And I wanted to ask you, like, how do we distinguish between general sadness and depression? And if you've got any.
Yeah, just very quickly, I saw that on the message this morning. So good morning once again, everybody. My name's Rudy Page. So I've worked in the NHS for the last 20 odd years. Sadness and depression. So from my perspective, I would say sadness a lot of the time can be an event. Something happens personally, family, the environment we live in. And then the depression can be something that is something natural to us and it could be a continuation, because you can feel depressed when everyone else around you is happy and people are celebrating, and they say, well, you should be happy. And you say, well, I don't feel happy, I feel depressed. Something may not necessarily have happened. So it could be something that's recurring, you're just remembering something from a long time ago. You could have fear for the future. So that's how I would separate the two, really.
Thank you.
In my thoughts.
Thank you.
Okay, so I've spent a lot of time working in the NHS at all levels, but I'm not going to go into that too much, but there's two things I'd really like to talk about today. So quickly, first, to those of us who work in the NHS, particularly those from the African and Caribbean population groups who actually deliver services in the NHS. So I understand the working environment that you have to work in with colleagues, because I've been involved in service investigations and examinations, particularly around equality issues as it relates to career prospects And what I would say to you all, normally the first question I ask when I speak with staff is, we always say all voices must be heard. And when we have one-to-one dialogues, I always talk about what action needs to be taken to improve your feeling of well-being at this trust or in this particular service area where you work. So what I would advise you all, start to get together in groups, and even if it's online groups, because they're a place of safety now. So it's important that you realize that where we've moved to now, use the social media, the Zooms, and create the staff groups as safe places. And the first question you really must ask yourselves is, what action needs to be taken to improve your feeling of well-being wherever you work? Because the reality is, the system demands performance, but the system is also now recognizing staff well-being is important. That's from an overall system point of view, but you may not feel that as it relates to your day-to-day working, your line manager and some of your colleagues. So that's important. And after this, I will be putting my details on the chat, because we'll be doing some special online forums that relate to that. So what we're doing is we're moving our service examination and staff development approach onto the online platform. But that's that subject there. So I don't want to major on that too much. The other thing now, let's talk about mental health. One of the challenges that we have in our community is there's 3 words that are necessary in terms of mental health recovery, which Natasha touched on really. And we all say love, compassion, and humanity. Treat people with love, compassion, and humanity. And I'm talking about how we treat ourselves now. So I'm not talking about outsiders, individuals, families, communities, attitudes within our churches, our Pentecostal churches in particular. I wrote a report called, and I'll put it on the chat room later, there was a report called Battlefield of the Mind, Faith and Spirituality in the Mental Health Services. And that was with an NHS body up in the West Midlands, but I'll put the link later, won't go into the details, but it's really important for, so those of us who go to church and have an important spiritual dimension to our lives, we need to think about how we treat each other as well. And Natasha gave great information in terms of how we take care of ourselves as well, because one of the challenges that I found in 20 years in working in our communities around health promotion, we don't listen, we don't attend the meetings, but when we're sick, we want everybody to pray for us, and we expect someone else to really now cure us, when many of us have been saying for years, prevention is better than cure. And we've tried in many meetings to explain to our people about diabetes, prostate health, cancer, hypertension, nutrition, and the things that we eat. All these things contribute to our health and well-being. So COVID has really uncovered what we must do as it relates to those things. So great advice, Natasha. So I won't go into that side. So as I said, I'm really one of those who facilitate within the system. Now, what I want to speak about now is the patient and public involvement. Now, what's happened COVID-wise is that there's a lack of representation of African and Caribbean people at the patient and public involvement within the NHS system. So yes, there are inequalities within the system, but those inequalities will continue if we do not get involved. If we don't attend the meetings in our local communities, we don't attend the forums, there's lots of, yes, the NHS is a complicated system, but there are pathways, and there are many of us who work in this system who are willing to facilitate and show our community to ensure their voices are heard. So there's a term we use, all voices must be heard. And COVID has uncovered the lack of representation within the system. And there are ways into the system. Now, I'm particularly going to focus on South East London today. And from an NHS perspective, South East London is Bexley, Bromley, Greenwich, Lambeth, Southwark, and Lewisham. Those 6 boroughs is what the system says, South East London, that sub-region. Now, there's a body called Health Watch. It's a very simple way in, that if you live in any of those boroughs, you can go to meetings, you can get into the forum, you can get understanding how the system works, but most importantly, you can have your say about the services that the community is receiving, because it's already accepted there's inequalities in service delivery, but we can't reduce the inequalities if we don't get involved. And that's a clear message that I really want to get across. And in the chat room, I've put all the details for any of you who live in, if any of you live in those areas, who you can contact and everything like that. And I'll keep updating it. So that's that. Now, the specific thing as it relates to the topic at the moment around mental health, most recently there was a task force set up for South East London, and it's called COVID-19, Preventing a Mental Ill Health Crisis Across South London. And the Chief Executive of Health Watch, we were in dialogue the other day, and I volunteered to set up a forum, a specific forum for the African and Caribbean communities across South East London, where we can now put together this group so that we will feed into the strategy going forward for South East London. So Joan, I'm just going to quickly read the key items and I'll end there. I can speak later if necessary.
Thank you.
Right. So the 3 key areas that are now being looked at as it relates to preventing a mental ill health crisis across South London. And we have to get involved if we want to prevent a crisis within our African Caribbean communities. And some would say we're already in crisis, let alone preventing a crisis. So the first one is, in terms of priorities, social isolation, loneliness, and community involvement. Helping people who are at risk of losing their jobs cope. Housing insecurity and environment. Supporting communities and groups who experience disadvantage. Supporting families, children, and young people. Developing a long-term joined-up plan for prevention. So you can see those 6 points will cover everything more than likely that we're going to discuss today. And there lies our challenge. So we're putting together a forum for South East London that will think about those things and feed into the main program. So I hope people will participate in this program, and I've put my email on the chat room, Joan. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that, Rudy. I mean, we spoke earlier about Health Watch, etc., and about, you know, African Caribbean community getting involved. And it's important that we have a voice on these forums, because what will happen is they'll create something which is supposed to benefit us, and we don't engage.
Yeah, we just don't get involved. So at the moment across South East London, then Health Watches are recruiting at the moment, and I will be the chair of the recruitment panel for all of the Health Watches recruitment over the next few weeks. So again, anybody who wants some advice about just access, obviously I'm not going to assist anybody. That wouldn't be fair, but I'm happy to guide people into the system. Any of those boroughs that I mentioned earlier on, in terms of if they need some support, help, connections to make their application, I'm happy to provide some information, advice and guidance. But the point I'm really making, that we've got to get involved, patient and public involvement within the system from the African and Caribbean communities is essential. The first line in the NHS Constitution says the NHS belongs to all the people. And that's the point. COVID has uncovered that. So within our communities, we have to get involved.
Hello, can I just ask a
No,
question? What
no,
about the
sorry.
other areas? The
Sorry?
other areas, West London, you know, what about that? Is there any help for that, those areas?
Yeah. I mean, I do work in the West London region as well. I do know the people across Northwest London, and there's similar activities going on there. So yeah, so anywhere in London, I can assist.
Okay.
No problem. I can guide anybody, signpost anybody to any of the health watches or clinical commissioning groups. There's lots of patient groups across the capital.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
And could I ask participants to please post your questions into the chat. My fantastic co-host Nadia is monitoring the chat. So please, if you could post your questions, leave everything to the end. Thank you. Rudy, that was really, really informative. Thank you very, very much for sharing that with us. And, you know, like you said, you know, it's our health service.
Yes.
And we just need to, you know, step up and get involved and have our say.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
We can't complain from the sidelines.
Yeah.
Because that doesn't help our family. So those of us who have the strength, the ability to get involved, we need to get involved and then help. We then will be assisting the most vulnerable people in our own community. And this is what we're trying to encourage.
Yes. Thank you very, very much for that, Rudy. I'm just conscious of time.
Yeah.
So, Dr. Aziza Sesay, are you there, my queen?
I'm here. Hello.
Fantastic. Welcome to the platform. We are so honored to have you on. GP, you're based, is it Wolverhampton?
Yeah, close to Wolverhampton. Yeah, so I'm far away, but
you're near. The power of, you know, these platforms is just incredible. So thank you very, very much. I've got a quick question for you. You're about to do a presentation for us. I just wanted to ask you really around the importance of nurturing our mental health, and what's your sort of like viewpoint on that? What suggestions or techniques, strategies we could perhaps put in place to really take care of ourselves and nurture?
I think that's a brilliant question. Thank you so much for asking it. And Natasha May kind of touched on this. It's so important to focus on our mental health because you know what? Our mind and our bodies are linked. You cannot have a healthy body if you don't have a healthy mind. And the mind is so powerful. How we perceive our symptoms, our pain, and so on is based on our mindset. We perceive them worse when we're in a bad mood or when we have a negative mindset. So it's so important that we nurture, we feed our mind, our mental health as though it's a newborn baby. We feed it with love, with positivity, kindness. Most importantly, kindness, because if we want to receive kindness, we have to give it to ourselves first and foremost. So yeah, I think it's really important, and I will be talking about tips through my slides.
Fantastic. Right, so you ready to kick off, madam?
I am. Okay, I hope that you can see my screen. Can you see it?
Yes, I can see it.
Amazing. All right, let's start off. Just a quick introduction again. I'm Dr. Aziza Sesay. I'm a GP, an NHS GP, and I am currently close to Wolverhampton, around the Willenhall area. I'm a host, speaker, and educator, and I'm a very big health and well-being advocate. I do a health education workshop called Talks with Dr. Sesay, but I'll discuss that later on. I always do a quick disclaimer when I start off, just to say that I'm giving general health and information, and I'm not a substitute for your GP. So unfortunately, I wouldn't be able to give any personal medical advice because it's not safe or legal. But if there's anything that you're concerned about during this talk and throughout the duration of all these talks, please see your GP. I promise you we are here and we do want to see you and we do want to help you. All right, before I start, I always like to be engaging with my audience. So Joan and I have worked out how to set up polling. I'm really intrigued to see where everyone is at based on the topic I'm going for today. So Joan, let's see if this works out. Would you mind please putting the poll up? I'd like the audience members, all the beautiful queens and Rudy, of course, to answer the questions as on the screen, okay? So they're all yeses and no, they're all yes and no questions. The first question is, do you constantly feel like you have tasks to complete? Just say yes or no. And then the second question is, do you feel guilty when you take time off? Yes or no. And then another question is, do you constantly feel tired, overwhelmed, and frustrated? Yes or no. And after you've finished, oh, there are more, so please scroll down, okay? It's 5 questions altogether. If you scroll down on the screen, you'll see the rest of them. Number 4 is, do you have trouble sleeping? Yes or no. And lastly, do you feel like you lack motivation? Yes or no. So once you've answered all the questions, the submit button will turn red and you click on it and please submit it. I'm gonna give about 30 more seconds and hopefully Joan will launch the results. I'm so intrigued to see what the results will show. Thank you so much, all of you who are participating in the poll. Once we have the results, we'll go through the topic and I'll explain why I felt it important to ask the question, gauge where everyone's at. How are we looking, Joan?
Yeah, really good. Yeah. Yeah, it's going up.
All right, amazing.
Yeah.
Can't wait to see the results. All right.
Participation, it's excellent. Really, really good.
Oh, this is amazing.
Yeah, I can't wait to see the results as well.
We'll do our own little research study based on 144 participants on a Saturday morning prioritizing their mental health.
Yeah.
I'm really blown away.
Yeah. I mean, we just need to talk. And now is the time, you know, in lockdown, people are seeking information, knowledge, you know, and what I like about doing things early on any morning, you know, I can get my task done, then I can go off and do what I like with the rest of the day.
Exactly. And hopefully these talks will boost everyone ready to tackle the rest of the weekend and the rest of the year.
Absolutely. But living your life with purpose. Absolutely. And every day you must have purpose.
Absolutely.
Right, so how are we going? We've done 2 minutes and 35. Do you want me to stop when it's 3 minutes?
Okay, absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
So we get on to the talk.
Yes. Right. Anybody else polling? Anybody else answering questions?
Once you finish, don't forget to click submit so that we can see the answers.
Yeah.
All right.
It's going up. 184 participants. I have 2.
Amazing. That's perfect. We can stop there. I'm happy to see what the results are now.
End poll. Right. Should I share the results?
Yes, please. Okay. So do you constantly feel like you have tasks to complete? 91% of you said yes. 53% of you say that you feel guilty when you take time off. 60% say that you feel tired, overwhelmed, and frustrated. 54% say you have trouble sleeping, and 54% say that you lack motivation. Basically, more than 50% have answered yes to all the questions, which basically means that a lot of us are struggling. And essentially, I asked those questions because of our topic today. We're going to be talking about burnout, because a lot of us are going through this condition. So I want to talk about what it is, what the symptoms are to look out for, how it's diagnosed, what the treatments are for it, and how we can prevent them from occurring. Because just like Rudy said, prevention is better than cure. So what is burnout? Now, there's no definitive definition of burnout, and that's why sometimes it can be hard to diagnose. But one really good one that basically encompasses it all, is that burnout is a state of emotional, mental, and often physical exhaustion. And it's brought on by prolonged or repeated stress, often based on our working and professional life, but it could be because of any reason, where you're essentially noticing that the reward you get from doing a certain activity is much less or even non-existent compared to the effort that you're putting in. So when I say reward, it could be anything. It could be perhaps the pay that you're getting. Maybe you feel like you're not getting paid enough for the amount of work that you're doing. Or it could be as simple as not feeling appreciated, not getting complimented for the hard work that you're putting in. That could lead to burnout. Basically, doing too much of anything for too many hours would lead to burnout. Now, imagine the picture that I'm showing you right now. You can see the matches surrounding the burnt out match. They all look fine, they look healthy, but the burnt out match is blackened, it's bent, and it's gonna break. When you're burnt out, it's almost like you have nothing else to give. Now, just a bit of history about burnout. It was discovered by a psychologist in 1974, and he described it as a consequence of severe stress. And in people who have very high ideals in helping professions, this is where you're essentially sacrificing yourself a lot. And it can happen with any of these professions, the most common ones, and a lot of us in the Black community are in this caregiving professions. We're, doctors, nurses, caregivers, and then lawyers, parents. I have to mention parents. That's a job. And I think it's actually the hardest job. They can all suffer with burnout, being a caregiver, teacher, all of these things. Essentially, nobody is immune to burnout. And that's why I feel it's really important to talk about. Just wanted to inform you all that stress, depression, or anxiety accounted to 51% of all work-related ill health cases. 51% of people are off work because of stress, depression, or anxiety. And 1 in 3 sick notes that have been issued in the UK, these are all statistical facts based on the UK, 1 in 3 sick notes are due to stress. So we're a really stressed out nation. So I said I would talk about the symptoms of burnout. It's when you're feeling emotionally and physically exhausted. You have difficulty sleeping, falling asleep, staying asleep. You may be quite irritable and you're not able to take feedback, constantly frustrated. You're not as productive as you used to be. You find it difficult to concentrate on things, on tasks, and you're not really excited or have any positive emotions for your job anymore, even though you probably used to love it. And then you can have physical manifestations. And this is where it's really important when I say that the mind and the body are connected. So you can have symptoms like chest pain, shortness of breath, tingling around your body, aches and pains all over, tummy pains, vomiting, nausea. All of these happen because you are burnt out. So how do we diagnose burnout? Now, my first thing to everyone is, please don't diagnose yourself. Go and see your GP or speak to a professional. And the reason that I'm saying this is because the symptoms that I've just described, you can get them with so many other conditions. And you can get them with physical conditions. So if you speak to your GP, they can then do relevant blood tests to try and rule out other causes. So for instance, you may feel the tiredness and exhaustion if you have an underactive thyroid, if your iron levels are low, if your vitamin levels are low. And the last Queen's talk was about menopause. You can get a lot of the symptoms that I described with menopause. And most importantly, you can get these symptoms with depression. And the treatment for these conditions are very, very different. So please do seek advice and support from your doctor so that we can confirm and exclude all these other causes. So these are my treatment suggestions. There are so many other alternatives that you can use as well. But I just wanted to start off with the most important one, because especially us queens, we end up giving and we forget to give back to ourselves. So self-care, 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 it's so important. And self-care looks different to everyone else. Like every individual has their own means of self-care. So, but I would always be an advocate, like Joan says, about exercising. Make sure that you get that physical energy out, because that helps to release your endorphins, your happy hormones. And then Natasha May, again, she mentioned meditation. And I know a lot of Black people think, oh, that's all faffy. What's the point? Actually, it's so important because it helps you to be present. It helps you to organize your thought. And it gives you time to yourself, moment of calm. People like to take baths, connect with people virtually at the moment, obviously, because of COVID. It's so important to stay connected, to talk to people, like it's already been said. And also important to disconnect from negative people, because you need that for your mental health. Learn new skills, take a break. You can't really travel anywhere far, but breaks can be anything, even if it's just chilling in your bedroom, watching your favorite TV show. Ask for help, please. You are not alone. And asking for help doesn't mean that you're weak, that you failed. It could be the difference between life and death. Essentially, you need the support. And I have to mention this for our brothers and our fathers and our sons. And because I know majority of the audience are women, we really need to be there for them because they don't seek help. And majority of suicidal cases are in men. The most common cause of suicide in men under the age of 50, the most common cause of death in men over the age of 50 is suicide. And it's because they don't ask for help. And 31% of those are preventable. So we need to be there to support them. And it's so important that we don't dismiss their symptoms or our symptoms, so everyone. And we realize that mental health is real. It's not just one of these things that we talk about. It's essential. It is literally the difference between life and death. So when you ask for help, speak to someone in your family, someone that you trust, speak to your GP. Like I said, mental illness is real. Or you could set up work adjustments. And this could be talking to your line manager if you get along with them. If you don't, speak to your union. Try and adjust your shifts or work around what works for you, because that might help in itself. Recognizing it. Maybe actually you need to change your job altogether if it's not good for your mental health. We only live once. Life is short. Reevaluate your priorities. Essentially, put you here. You need to be at the top, because how can you be good enough for anyone if you're not good enough for yourself? Prioritize yourself, prioritize what's most important, and then list them. And don't forget that. And my favorite, give back. There's nothing like feeling that you've made a difference in someone's life, that you've impacted them positively. Meaningfulness in itself can counteract burnout. And I wanted to say here, and sorry, Joan, I'm letting you know some information about you out, but I wanted to say that I asked Joan these questions earlier in the week, and she only said yes to one of them. And I truly believe that she's probably not burnt out because she's giving back. She's doing these amazing, support groups, and she's engaging so many different people. So she feels great. And you don't lose anything. And one thing in life after you've gone is what people remember about what you did for them. So keep giving back. It's endless, and it's also contagious. How do we prevent burnout? Set healthy boundaries, make sure, for instance, and this is really important because a lot of us are working from home, make sure that you separate work from home. I know that it's hard, but for instance, make sure that the space where you work is separate from your bedroom. Your bedroom is there for relaxation, for rest, for sleep, and for other fun activities, not for work, because our brain is adaptive. So if we're working in our bedrooms, then we won't switch off. So it's really important, just a tip for when you're working from home. And also set boundaries with your family, with your work colleagues. Make sure you have boundaries in place so then you don't reach that burnout. And know your limits. Be aware of the symptoms that you get when you're starting to feel burnt out. So for instance, for me, when I know I'm getting stressed, my left eye starts twitching like crazy, or I get pins and needles in my left arm. And that's where I know, okay, I'm gonna take a break, I'm gonna take a step back, and I'm gonna listen to my body. So work it out. What is it for you that makes you more stressed out, more burnt out? What happens to you? Take regular breaks, as I say. It will do you better good. If you're constantly working, you will end up being non-productive. Whereas if you take regular breaks, you'll end up achieving much more. And work smarter versus harder. So when I say this, I mean, set up to-do lists, right? Write down maybe 7 things, no more than 7 things that are realistic and achievable every single day that you want to achieve. And also set up a schedule. Don't try doing, like a lot of us women, we do 10 million things at the same time, but it's actually unproductive because our brain can't take it. Set up a schedule of what you're going to do for each task at what time, right? Because it's all about working smarter. There's so many other things that I could talk about maybe in the question and answer section. I'm worried about the time. But the take home message is burnout is real. Please ask for help and seek support and recognize your red flags and listen to them. Prioritize yourself and your well-being, because guess what? No one can take care of you, better care of you than you. There's only one of you out there. And if you do prioritize and put yourself first, you'll be in a much better place for the people who need you. So please, you're important. Don't forget that. So these are some useful helplines that I got from the NHS UK website, which I'll put all in the comment box. But yeah, Mind and Anxiety UK, they're quite useful. There's Samaritans, which is also quite helpful. But as I say, I'll put all of these in the chat box. But this is how you can reach me if you're interested in finding a bit more about me. I have a website, www.talkswithdrsesay.com. My email address is on there. And you can find me on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube at Talks with Dr. Sesay. I'm gonna stop, and then Joan, maybe you could tell me if I could share this information or if I should wait, but I'm all done.
Thank you very, very much. That's absolutely awesome. So what is it you want to share with us? Please go for it.
Okay, well, I was just going to say that I usually do health talks for the community through Zoom, just like this, and they're free. And it's accessible to everyone. And it is literally just my way of giving back, because I do feel it's so important that we empower, we educate, and we enlighten ourselves about these medical conditions. And if it means that we save even one life, then it could, literally, that's my dream. So there's a talk coming up on the 6th of December that I'm doing specifically sickle cell disease and its impact. I think that despite the fact that we know a lot about sickle cell disease, the numbers are still going up. It affects millions of lives every day. So it's just about raising awareness. It's going to be on Sunday, the 6th of December, which is 2 weeks away at 5 o'clock. And it's 45 minutes, 30 minutes discussing the topic. I'm also going to be having a special guest star who is a sickle cell survivor or warrior. And she'll be talking about her transition and what it's like living with sickle cell. So if you're interested, if you'd like, I'll put all the links on there. But yeah, that's it. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Oh, powerful, really, really powerful. And as Aziza said, she'll put everything into the chat for you guys to make contact. And I really I made a few notes here, and it's so important to learn new skills. I mean, going into the lockdown, etc., as we progressed on, I had to quickly learn how to use Microsoft Teams. I had to quickly learn how to do Zooming. And, even this week now, just learned how to do polling on Zooming. So it's, fantastic, being open to learning new things. It will keep you motivated, keep your mental health up. So that's a fantastic point, and I think a real gem for participants to take away this morning.
Keep your brain going.
Keep it, absolutely. And it was quite profound, the statistics you gave about suicide in men. Yeah. And that's the interesting thing. Look at this platform. There's 249 participants on the platform, and I think Rudy's the only man. If I'm wrong, somebody please correct me. But, it just goes to show, they don't talk about this topic, and they really, really should. And if they don't, us as, women, mothers, sisters, partners, you observe something in your partner or your relative, talk to them. It could be just their way of, hiding what's going on. So thank you again, my darling.
It's okay. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. So we're going to swiftly move on to Naomi. And Naomi's got some wonderful research to talk to us about that's been done in the Black community. So
thank you, Joan. Greetings. Greetings everyone, grand risings. It's just been awesome so far. The amount of information that I've just picked up, my pen's just been scribbling. So thanks to the presenters so far. I hope I can follow suit. So I'm going to be talking about the research like Joan mentioned, but just some things that came up intuitively for me that I wanted to kind of highlight just before I start is that my research is going to be kind of highlighting the kind of multifaceted like layer of the complexity that Black women, Black people suffer with their mental health. So rather than drill down, I'm actually going to go wide and touch different topics, but it's really to kind of highlight that the trauma that we experience individually and collectively runs deep. And it takes not just a, you know, a one size fits all approach. It's something that needs to be tackled energetically, spiritually, socially, collectively. So there's so many layers to the amount of factors that influence our mental health. And so also something that came up as well that I just thought I'd mention. And I love all of the self-care tips that everybody gives. They're quite active, but I also want to kind of balance it with what I usually kind of call the feminine kind of energy, which is, you know, from a masculine point of view, it's very productive. We're always doing, we're doing. And sometimes we don't take the opportunity just to sit down and just be. And I call that on the feminine because it's more of the passive receiving. And maybe it's not as honored as much because sometimes just sitting and just being, not doing anything, not distracting yourself, can feel like you're not being purposeful, you're not being productive, but there's really a lot of benefits in just being still, listening and trying to come in tune with yourself, your energy, your ancestors. So that kind of I just wanted to kind of highlight that before I went into the research. So I was asked to produce, sorry, just to say a little background. So I consider myself like a wellness coach. I'm a person-centered counsellor. I teach box fit to women, yoga, nutritional advice. So for me, that's just my holistic kind of wellness. And like other people have mentioned, the physicality is really important. We hold a lot of trauma in our body. So body movement needs to be kind of key in everything we do, whatever that is, whether it's the walking group, the boxing, like someone mentioned. We really need to, you'd just be surprised how much tension, even people walking around with their shoulders hunched up, you know, like a lot of stress in their neck, their back. Some of these things, yes, they're physical, but they're also related to stress. So stretching, all these types of activities are really important. So I was asked to run some research on, we'll provide some stats on Black women and mental health. Research is one of my favorite topics. I love research, I'm passionate about it, specifically Black people and women. And why I love, obviously, Black women research is because it kind of covers the intersection between all of the factors that affect Black people and then all of the factors that affect women, one of the most two oppressed kind of groups in society. So I went to go and look for the information to provide somebody who was running an event. And I was surprised that I couldn't find anything about Black women mental health in the UK. I was really confused because the fact is, not only do I know personally I've suffered with mental health challenges, but people in my network, other people wider, I was just like, why? And I kind of realized that because Black women were not high on the policy, there's not research, there's not anything that's really done looking at our experiences. And I did find a lot of information about in America. So what I've just kind of put together was like, well, let me start research myself. So what I'm going to present is the primary research, which, the secondary research, which is to do with the research that's available already, as well as the primary research, which was the new research that I conducted. So this was done in 2017. And so like I said, I found that the issues of Black women's mental health was neglected and ignored by public health research and policies. So even though there are kind of links with us Black women, Black people in the US, there's still some differences. So it was to try to be aware. But again, most of the information out there is kind of patriarchal, white, Eurocentric, and do not have Black women at the core. So when I look at it, we already know the kind of stats that are available that show us that, you know, African Caribbean, you know, people have the highest rates of kind of schizophrenia for men, you know, all of these things, but really no one's drilling down into it. Everybody's just moving on without actually finding out, well, why? So I won't go into that because we'll probably touch on it a little bit more about the stats, but I do have it available. I do have this research. If anybody wants it, it's more the research for the community, you know? So let me go straight into it. So some of the factors we'll be talking about Black people in general and women specifically. So the factors impacting Black women's mental health include all the factors such as racism, sexism, discrimination, economic deprivation, the responsibility and the burdens of the family, high levels of stress, health condition, as well as the general stuff around education, employment, internalized racism, hatred, the historical impact of slavery, post-traumatic slave disorder, if you know about that, the whole kind of intergenerational trauma. So really, as a people, we're just moving forward, but not really taking that time to sit back and heal. And, you know, just not for ourselves, but also for our families. We're carrying stuff that, you know, we don't even know because we're just on go. We don't have this self-care topic is new for Black people. If I went to tell my mum or my grandmother about self-care, she's just going to look at me. We didn't have time. It's not that we you know, it wasn't an area for us. When you're trying to pay your bills and put food on your family's table, self-care isn't your priority at that time. And so unfortunately, as Black women, where we are the, you know, that the main breadwinners, that our self-care is just the least thing to be prioritized. So sorry. So I'm very passionate, and especially Black women, because I just feel like we're so oppressed, and just the support that we don't receive, whether it's from our Black wider communities, even our brothers, you know, it's just the fact that we do such great things. I just want to say that we're amazing, honouring the Queens. So if I just break down the different areas, sorry, I'm talking fast to try and get through as much as possible. But when we look at the family, for instance, as I've kind of highlighted, you know, we are largely in a disproportionately high single parent family. So there's, I think in the US, it said 67% of African-American women were classified as single parents. And part of Gingerbread, which is a charity for single parent families, they show that 40% of children in single parent families live in relative poverty. Black mothers are often disfranchised. Their impoverished conditions limit their choices and their opportunities for them and their children. So that kind of highlights how the family, you know, the challenges that we're dealing with. So when I look at mental health, I'm looking at it more from a preventative point of view, the bits where we need to, before it gets into crisis modes, what are the things that we can do? So and when we look at work, again, the unemployment rate for ethnic minority women, Black women, is a lot higher than for white women. So it's, like I said, we've already got that sexism in the workplace. And then I'm not even talking about the microaggressions that happen whilst you're there. That's a next level, the next level, you know, like the things that we have to do with daily, you know, like when you got Becky telling you to, your voice is loud, can you know, like, and then she starts crying, even though she's been using passive aggressive, like, kind of behaviors, and we've got to internalize that, take that home, go back to our families, deal with some of the stressors. That's one small kind of aspect to what we have to deal with daily, regularly. So yes, so that's around that. And then so obviously with the economic deprivation or the poverty or working part-time, we you know, our choices economically, the areas that we live in, the things that we can do will be limited. That's already at a negative, because I've been to some areas where I'm just saying that the food shops, the choices that are around are limited. So when you're coming, anyway, let me move on before I get excited here. So the next level, something else, somebody mentioned that we don't talk, you know, don't chat your business, is about the abuse. I think when we came on the call, someone was talking about that. the abuse that Black women experience sexually and physically, and unlike our white counterparts who are quick, they will call the police on partners, because of our historical relationship with the police, we're not so ready to do that. And even when we have, so we're often suffer in silence. And even where, because I've spoken to women, and even where we have maybe tried to voice our kind of distress, we've almost been, in the worst cases, disbelieved, that almost like we've protected the perpetrator as opposed to the person who's, like been suffered or the abuse has been inflicted on. So they say 50% of women have experienced domestic abuse. I can tell you that probably it's a lot higher for Black women. It says 1 in 4 women are likely to experience sexual and physical abuse. Again, I feel like it's higher in Black women. We just don't do the reporting. The long-term consequences of sexual violence and child sexual abuse include post-traumatic stress disorder, anxiety, panic attacks, depression, social phobia, substance abuse, obesity, eating disorders, self-harm, and suicide. Black women are more susceptible to these harmful effects. And as well as us, remember the things that I've already said we have to deal with and the lack of support. So yeah, and then that will obviously have an impact on our health issues. So again, the research coming mainly from America, it says African-American women are said to experience disproportionately high rates of adverse health conditions, including cardiovascular, obesity, lupus, adverse birth and delivery. So we already know the stats that we're more likely to die, in delivering, and then untreated or mistreated psychological conditions. And so all of this disempowerment, the severe stress, the consequences, it has an impact on just our being. And then still, Black women and Black people generally continue to thrive, continue to take care of their families, looking after everybody, and like I said, neglecting themselves. So just the last one before I move into just quickly the kind of a primary research. The last one is about the self-image, and I found this kind of resonated deeply with me, but it says many Black women express the need to present an image of strength for the sake of their children, parents, family members and friends. Women also indicated an obligation to suppress emotions. They felt difficulty letting people in. They didn't want to appear crazy or seem weak. The role or label given to Black women as independent superwomen have led Black feminists to cite this as a double-edged sword used to burden and limit the help offered to Black women, as well as protect their ego. So all of that, when you're like strong Black women, actually as women, we can and should be able to express that, no, we're not strong all the time. Actually, we should be able to express our vulnerability. I remember, sorry, going off topic, Joan, stop me because I can really get into this, but I remember asking somebody for help, a Black brother, for help with my shopping bags. And he said to me, Queen, you've got this, you're strong. And I just remember thinking, wow, I'm actually asking for help and you're going to use that against me, like as opposed to, and those are the things that sometimes go around, as well as Black people or Black women, maybe we just do try to show that strength because we've had to, so that sometimes we have difficulty relating to our brothers, but that's another topic. So anyway, after going through all of that, I was just like, wow, that's so a lot. So I decided to run a survey. I'd done that in 2017 and someone said he was lazy. So yeah, so in 2017, I decided to run a quantitative survey and and a focus group on Black women and mental health and well-being. And I was inundated. I was really overwhelmed daily. I just didn't expect the response that I got. But so I ran a survey alongside to kind of capture the quantitative, because it's all the way also about numbers. That's what the people need, the health establishments, they want numbers as well as the qualitative. So I've got both. So I looked at the numbers, I went through things such as our qualifications, so on and so forth. So like I said, I won't go into detail about that. I have got the report. I will leave my details in the chat so I can just email it to you. But generally what I found was that in terms of, there's two ways that you can look at mental health or mental well-being. It's on the objective measures, which looks at things such as, how do you feel in housing? How do you feel with the way you live? How do you feel in your relationships? Those are objective measures, as well as the subjective, which is, how do you feel about yourself? So on the objective measures, the Black women reported quite high. That we would look on the objective, we was happy with our education, happy with where we live. There wasn't anything that really was like, oh, wow, until the irony is that when you looked at the subjective of how we was feeling, it told a different story. And that's when you realized that there's work and healing to do. And so what I'm just going to end with is just quickly looking at some of the qualitative things that I asked the women, what are the challenges they experience? And again, for me, it's important that we have research from us, by us, to kind of really help us in terms of the solutions, not one size fits all. So people, I mean, groups that talk about African-centered therapy, cultural appropriate, you know, all of these different things. There's many things, there's energy healing, there's physical, so many things. So some of the things that they kind of mentions is that the challenges to their mental health, that they won't be believed, a lot of deflection of the racist impact and challenges. Our community doesn't prioritize emotional well-being. Black women issues touching and connecting due to sexual abuse and family peers. That was a big one. A lot of Black women spoke about their, and Black men, because I also run some of the, I ran this with Black men as well afterwards. The results, there wasn't as much, you know, numbers with the results, but it still was insightful. But they talked about some of them never hearing from their mother that they loved them, never receiving a cuddle or a hug, you know, that type of thing. And we understand how powerful touch is and the impact. That impacts not just us and our relationships, but also the way that we parent. And again, just thinking about that intergenerational trauma, just continuing it. Also, other issues were denial, kind of that Disney princess archetypes that psyche absorbs, not seeing us as beautiful, and then having that. Epigenetics of trauma, my favorite topic, because I really believe that whole epigenetic, and I want to do kind of more research into that, is linked to why there's the high proportion of fibroids in Black women. Also linked to the prostate, the high proportion of prostate in Black men, so prostate cancer. So I feel like those are links. And you know, I know people don't really like us keep going back to slavery, but just imagine all of that, you know, that trauma that's unhealed, neglected. Where does it go? Where does it go when you feel that you haven't got a voice, where you can't express yourself? Someone said it's good to talk. It is. And so when you don't have a voice, it's repressed inside. Where is it going? And it's interesting that the fibroids are in our womb, our corrective and our feminine space where we birth. Then the male, the prostate, remember there was castrations, there was all of these inflictions, there was babies taken away from us while we're nursing, while we nurse others. But anyway, let me calm down. So the next things is also about those stereotypes, collective culture. So those are some of the things. And then lastly, I kind of asked them, what are the solutions? Where do we go? So they said more Black counsellors are needed. Now you can see with all the hype on the Instagram, blah, 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 there is loads more. I'm involved in groups. I will also send a link of a directory. So I've got Black, I've got men, I've got services that support us. So it's just all in one. Also, allowing women to understand the power in their voice. They said coming into schools. Someone even said teaching with the older generation, the younger generation, having that kind of intergenerational kind of therapies where we connect and we understand from the elders. Yeah. And so, yeah, so that's it. I think I'll leave it there. Hopefully I didn't take up too much time. Yeah.
Thank you. That was so empowering. And there's so much. We actually need more research. We really do, especially into our community. And it's interesting that you spoke about, you know, the legacy of slavery and how, you know, it's been carried through the generations. More research. I wanted to ask, are there any sort of like local groups, or are there groups happening now? I suppose it's all on Zoom, all online. But if you have any information about that, could you post that into the group? So, you know, if anybody is feeling, you know, lonely, isolated, etc. You know, they can tap into something. They might not want to tap into their GP, etc. But some kind of support group.
Yeah, there's a few. There's many great, and they're even on the call now. But many great people doing amazing stuff. So yes, I'll do that.
That would be fantastic. Thank you very, very much, my darling. And I love the directory. Is that something you pulled together yourself, or was it just out there?
Yeah, it's because my frustration, sometimes I see people, you know, like they put it there in the WhatsApp and I'm not very good, and then I'm missing it. I'm overwhelmed, and I'm like, oh, can't you just have it in one place? So I've got practitioners in there and also supporting organisations. But I must highlight before I get attacked, it's predominantly Black, because obviously that's my network, but it's not exclusively. So there's some people that actually I just want to highlight, and I know it might be controversial, but I know they're like, you know, you speak to a Black therapist, a blah, blah, blah. I just want to say I've had 2 Black counsellors myself, and I can tell you we was far removed. Not just because someone looks like you does not mean that they have your shared experience. It's like going to a hairdresser's. You don't just sit there in a Black hairdresser's and choose that one. Shop around is what I'm trying to say, and you choose what intuitively, you know, connects with you. So it's your life, your path. So yeah, I'll say that.
Okay, that's fantastic. Well, please post that into the chat, because, you know, I'm sure, you know, there's people out there, we know we need to network, we need to communicate, we need to be sharing information. So thank you very, very much for that, Naomi. Absolutely magnificent. Now, moving on to our last, she is one of our frontline workers, and I can't big her up enough. Belinda is a Black mental health nurse. She's on the front line every day doing this, dealing with people who are coming into, you know, contact with her in regards to her mental health. So Belinda, my darling, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Hello, everyone. So wow, what an informative morning from everyone that is spoken. It's been amazing. I've already been introduced. I'm a mental health nurse, and I'm mainly on front line. So today I wanted to look at suicide, raise awareness, and some of how we can prevent it and help ourselves, because I know that the pandemic is global, but the intensity of it is personal. Each and every one of us is carrying a load that we are bearing, and therefore we have to look after ourselves and look after other people as well. So let me try and share my screen, and then we crack on from there. Bear with me, let me figure out all this technology. Yes, I'm there.
Don't worry, we're all there with you.
Awesome.
We've had to learn Zoom and
bits
and pieces really quickly, so
yeah, everyone
had
to quickly learn, so bear with me. Yeah, that's it. So I wanted to look at suicide awareness and prevention. I've taken out statistics and all of that because
Belinda,
yes.
So, are you doing a presentation, darling?
Yes.
We can't see it.
You can't see my slideshow.
No.
Okay, hang on, bear with me. Okay.
Is it there?
Let me try again and see if it will come up.
Okay.
Right. So.
Is it there?
And let me try one more time to see if you can see it. Is it there?
Not yet.
So, but you can see me?
We can see you.
Oh, okay. Oh, right. Well, I can see you, Joanne, but I don't know what
Don't worry. If you can't show, you can just talk to us.
Talk. Okay. All right. Yeah.
Don't worry.
Let me just talk here. Don't worry. And I can send the slides to you to share with others.
Okay.
Yeah.
Belinda, you can go to share and then tap to the share thing, and then you'll be able to share your screen. If you go down, you will see share.
The
Tap
green.
on it.
green
Yes, the
Yeah,
green one.
share your screen. That is where I tapped. That is what I was using. Share your screen, the green, because we've been granted access to share.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what's. Don't worry. Don't worry.
Is it?
Ah,
is it
it's
there?
there. It's there.
It's
Well
there.
done,
You've
Queen.
got it.
Well done. Well done.
Well
Well
done.
Oh,
done.
brilliant. Okay, that's awesome. Sorry about that. So let's crack on. And so I'll be looking at suicide prevention and awareness. And bear with me. I just need to find. That's it. Okay. So like I was saying, the pandemic has taken a toll on everyone. And I think Dr. Sesay mentioned a bit of statistics, which I have stayed out of statistics because I wanted us to crack on to see what we can do to help ourselves and one another. So starting off, what is suicide? It is when someone intentionally make the decision to end their own life. So it's just a simple dictionary definition that doesn't need any further explanation. But the reason why people do that is to always is to end suffering. For somebody to make that decision to end their life, it means there's a suffering, there's pain, there's shame that they want to end. And some of the causes that I've come into contact with, obviously because of what I do, I have had a couple of experiences of that. And some of the causes from my experiences, sometimes due to severe and enduring mental illness. That is not always the case, but sometimes the mood disorders such as low mood, depression, psychosis, schizophrenia, hearing voices commanding them to do things, they can act on them, or even sometimes persecutory voices telling them that either you harm someone or I will do this, and therefore people decide to end their life rather than harming someone. And then there are other maladaptive coping mechanisms. So we get people that are not really, the primary idea isn't to harm themselves, but then they involve themselves or engage in activities which end up in suicide, such as self-harming, cutting. We call it para-suicidal, but it can end up as suicide because something can go wrong and then it ends up there. Then we have impulsive responses to trauma and loss. So sometimes it's none of the two that I've already mentioned. It's neither severe or enduring mental health or coping, maladaptive coping mechanism, but it could be some trauma, loss, grieving, and stuff like that, that instantly they take that impulsive decision to end their life. I must stress that in the 60s, 70s, suicide was a crime. So we used to call it commit suicide. And that is something that we are moving away from because it's no longer a crime. So we're trying to raise the awareness that we use the language complete rather than commit. Then some of the undesirable life events, such as, you know, somebody can have a degenerative sickness or something and they will say, I can't cope with this anymore. I think we hear that a lot. People go into court to find a way of ending their own life, sadly. And then there are other numerous factors that we cannot list all of them here due to time factors, because I'm very aware of the time. So what are some of the signs we should look out for in ourselves? First, we have to start taking care of ourselves. So if we were to be experiencing this negative thought, the first things that we will see in ourselves or in others is dissociation, being detached from our emotions, from reality. And sometimes dissociation is a way of safeguarding ourselves, our own emotion, and our loved ones, because we do not want the trauma to be huge. So we sort of dissociate from reality a bit. Another sign to look out for is expression of hopelessness. You know, you will hear from the language or yourself that you become so hopeless that all the optimism, the hope, the enthusiasm, the vibrancy of life, it goes out of you and your thinking becomes of more hopeless thoughts than hope. Then increased substance misuse. Sometimes people increase their substance misuse as a way of numbing the emotional pain that they are going through. Then there can be some dramatic mood swings as well, because remember, suicide, before somebody takes the decision to end their life, it's very, very, serious decision. And therefore, on one hand, they want to end the suffering, but the other, the suffering they are passing on to loved ones becomes so intense that they struggle to cope. So their mood will swing. Then there can be some impulsive or reckless behavior. So you realize that, especially youngsters that I see, they will say, I got up at 12 a.m. to walk, hoping that I can come to harm and die. Or some people would drive, over speeding and things like that. So you will see that their behavior becomes impulsive and reckless. And then they can also exhibit out of character behaviors. Out of character, I mean, you are in contact with someone weekly, then all of a sudden you stop, you withdraw from that. Or they will be shopping excessively, spending excessively because they are not planning into the future, or they stop spending at all, or they will be sending goodbye, indirectly goodbye messages to loved ones, and as a means of saying goodbye. So some of the self-help, this is the steps we can take as people to help ourselves to be in a better place to help others. These are some of the steps. The first and immediate step to take is to take notice. All the speakers that came before me, they mentioned that, so I won't dwell on that. You have to take notice. I think Blacks, we are not curious enough. We are curious about other things, but when it comes to our mental health, we are not curious. One thing I will add to what everyone has said about taking notice is knowing something that I call your point of reference. Everyone has a point of reference. When I meet someone at A&E, I don't know them, but I have to ask them about their point of reference. So know yourself, know your baseline, and know where you are going, so that if you're going off course, you will know. Then reach out to loved ones, and reach out, help with their help. You can reach out to access professional support as well. One thing we have to remember is we reach out to our loved ones. They are not trained to deal with this, so they will help us to access professional support. But sometimes it's very comforting and it cushions the pain a bit to reach out to somebody that you know first, and then you reach out to professional support. If you feel you have nobody that you can trust, you can cut that middle one out and access support directly. Be kind and patient with yourself. It's been said all, so I won't dwell on that too much. Self-compassion and kindness is important, because when these thoughts are going through your mind, all that you do is criticism, self-criticism, and you'll be putting yourself down, and you are not patient, and you think you are a failure and all of that. Be kind, calm yourself down. What suicidal thought does is it takes all your gains and count them as loss. So at that particular moment, you just have to practice self-soothing and things that suit you. Be patient and calm yourself down. Then you have hope. Hope is powerful. I cannot stress the importance of hope when we find ourselves in this situation, because discouragement will come for all of us at a point in time. But hope is the waiting room where we wait for things to get better. One important thing we have to bear in mind is that everyone that has hope moves forward, because you can never hope backwards. We always hope forward. So hope is paramount. Then to help others, I'm rushing through a bit because I've compressed everything, but to help others, take notice the signs that we have talked about yourself, notice in others as well, but notice the unsaid words, the undisplayed actions, everything. If we pay attention, we see so much, but the world we live in is so robotic. If I'm asking Joanne, how are you? It's so robotic. I'm expecting her to say I'm fine. So I don't even wait to hear what she says, and then I'm walking by. Let's take notice, let's pay attention, mindfulness of ourselves and mindfulness of others. Offer them help to seek professional help, and I will dwell on it. Offer them help. Don't force them. Offer them the help to seek their support. If they want to do it themselves, Do allow them. If they want you to do for them, do it for them. Be kind. We've talked about kindness. Listen. Listen first, judge later. When we hear suicide, we jump, but we have to listen first and ask straightforward questions, no beating about the bush or covering it or sugarcoating it. Ask direct questions, no judgment, just listen to them. Validate the suffering. That is where we Blacks, we lack it. I see a lot of people here, and all that I do for them is to validate their suffering. When somebody says they are suffering, it's not up to us to judge them, to say, what have you got to lose? Why are you sad and all of that? We need to do a lot more validation and be with them. Silent companionship, that is what matters. Then we must harness positive curiosity. You know, when somebody says, I don't want to be here anymore, find that courage to be curious about that life. Ask them probing questions. Ask them direct questions. What do you mean by that? Are you having suicidal thoughts? Are you having plans? Are you having any intent to act on them? These are what we do as professionals, but as a lay person, as a loved one, love goes deeper than any textbook or professional. So harness that positive curiosity about that life so that you'll be able to find out more. Then I'm going to this bullet point that we all need to remember is that curiosity goes a long way. It makes life exciting and it makes us get stuff that we will not get. So when you are dealing with somebody, be curious about their life. When somebody is down, when you see their demeanor has changed and everything, let's just be curious, but positive way, so that we'll be able to help them. Silence is more than golden. We use the phrase, silence is golden. Silence is more than golden. Naomi said that and I was so happy. Silence is healing. It's more than golden, it's healing. What I mean by this is when you are helping someone, this phrase, when we are saying it, we cut it short. It starts with speech is silver, but silence is golden. So we shouldn't lecture them. We should hear them. And also sometimes to be able to notice in us and in others, we must be silent. Tune out of the noise of social media. Tune out of the noise that is going on everywhere. Listen to your inner man. Listen to your partner. Listen to your children. Listen to your loved one. Listen. You can even listen with your eyes. The person that is behind you at Tesco, we need that. We have to be tuning out of noise to be able to see what is going on with people. Then hope. Hope is the only thing we can gift ourselves and others in times of discouragement, because I already said that we can't hope backwards, we hope forward. So let's harness our hope. Every suicide ends with a missed opportunity. Whether we like it or not, unfortunately, every suicide ends with a missed opportunity. I've seen someone that said that evening, yes.
Sorry, my darling.
Okay.
I think it is the hinting that your presentation. Have you got many more slides to go?
No, just one more.
Oh, just one more. All right, thank you, my darling. Thank you.
Just one more. So every suicide ends with a missed opportunity. So we really have to pay attention, and whatever, if it's up to us, it could be the cashier at Tesco till, or it could be on the street that saves them. Somebody sat at A&E. It's not the nurse that saved them, but the cleaner that made a cup of coffee for them, showed them kindness, which saved them. Validation goes a long way, like I already said. We need to validate the suffering, and then we should stay encouraged as well. So I want to end by giving you a lot of signposting has already happened, so I'm not going there. I just had to give you this. It's called Listening Place, and it's a brilliant charity that deals with suicide. So besides Samaritans and NHS, please capture this on your phone. It is called the Listening Place. I'll put it in the comment as well. And their phone number is there. They are private and they see everyone that is experiencing suicidal ideation. So thank you so much for listening. But remember, please remember that it is okay to lose your mind. You can be helped with others, but it's never okay to lose your life. Thank you very much. That is me done. It's rushed, but it's done. Thank you.
Thank you very, very, very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Let me see how I end.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And what I liked was the quote, hope
Yeah.
being in the waiting room. What a beautiful way to
Yeah.
kind of look into the future. So
Yes, yes.
Beautiful, beautiful.
I'm trying to end the screen sharing.
And what I like is what you were saying about curiosity. I mean,
Yes.
when I go out for my walk, especially with what I call my core walking group in the week,
Yeah.
and sometimes, I'll say, right, let's go and explore.
Yeah.
End up in, wherever we end up, but curiosity is such a healthy,
Yes. Yeah.
way to be, state of mind.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you've given us lots of food for thought.
Yeah.
So thank you very, very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm going to ask Nadia, because I'm conscious of the time. So we're going to do a quick Q&A. So Nadia, my darling, my co-host, they're busy watching the chat. Are there any sort of like salient themes and questions that have popped up that you can share with us and we can ask the panel?
Oh, wow. Sorry, could we have Belinda's contact details?
And it's all going to go into the chat, but could you please post any questions into the chat?
Okay. Big impact. Rudy, I think they want to know whether it's all over England, Health Watch. So, and I know you've been posting information there, but definitely those outside of London are interested. And I know you've already stated West Midlands and Manchester, but I think this would be great if it was right across, because, we know Black people are in every part of England, Ireland, Scotland, so that connection would be fantastic. And how could we do that?
Yeah.
So that's big.
Okay, if they would like to email me, then I'll direct them to their local health watch.
Okay.
So I'll put the email again in the chat.
Lovely, fantastic. Okay, May mentioned a book. So if May can put the book in that she, I'm saying May, that's her surname, isn't it? Sorry about that.
That's okay,
the book that you mentioned, if you could put that in the chat, that would be great. How can you help the youth was one of the questions, which I thought was quite a prominent one, because a lot of our youth with the mental problems, who would like to answer that? That's a big one. How can we help the youth?
That forum I mentioned earlier on does include youth as well.
Okay, lovely.
Do any of the other panelists have any comments to make on that? I know mental health, especially during this lockdown, has affected a lot of the young people. I don't know if they're on mute. Dr. Sesay? Belinda?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, so I know being on the front line, you have a lot of young people coming in to A&E, etc.
Oh yes. I have young people are coming into A&E, but what I've also noticed, and I must mention, is that a lot of the Black children, by the time they come, they are so unwell that they need mental health act. So we keep our children home until it's too late. And early help, it improves the prognosis a lot. As Dr. Sesay said, the earlier we get help, the quicker we can recover. The recovery process can be shortened really significantly. So please, we really shouldn't wait until there isn't much we can do. Unfortunately, the people that I saw during this pandemic, most of them ended up in hospital because they had been kept for so long that they deteriorate, and then it ends up in hospital, inpatient admission, I mean. So let us seek help in time, please, early help.
Okay, the other, I think, prominent thing was, how can we use the research, Naomi's research, how can we use the research to benefit our community in the UK? So that was quite a prominent thing, that we need to have our own research to help us move forward. So can we have a feedback on that? Maybe Naomi, are you doing more on what's happening in the UK, because you talked about the USA?
Yeah. And actually, I should have just posted the link in, because I've just started a new survey. Like I said, that was 2017. I did that survey. So I've got a new survey. I'll quickly try and see if I can find the link to share. But so doing it and hoping to try to encourage more Black men to take part, because I wanted to compare. But in terms of our outcomes, the information was out there for practitioners, other people that want to set up groups. So it was almost looking at what are the themes, what can we do, what is out there. So actually having some, you know, like groups where we can connect, whether it is on intergenerational, whether it is African centered, whether it is more talking, whether it is forums such as this. So yeah, so anybody can connect with me because I've got quite a few networks and so kind of see what's happening on the ground. But yeah, definitely with more groups that are centered to our needs, run by us.
Okay, and that's fantastic. Another question, how do you support someone who's avoiding your support? So I know we've got, you know, the health, the different places to go to. So how would we encourage someone to go to seek more help if you can't do it? Your loved one, you're trying to get your loved one to seek more help.
Right. Can I just interject there? I note that it's 10 o'clock, so we're going to go for probably another half an hour so we can get into the Q&A. So I hope people can still stick around for about another half an hour. Thank you. So who would like to take that question?
I don't mind taking that question, Belinda. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, all right. So if your loved one doesn't want help, you know, what I would say is, and we get that a lot, it is not easy. And yes, sometimes by the time they come to your radar, maybe they've deteriorated to the point where they've lost hope and they think no one can help them. So it's all about love and gentleness and patience and perseverance and resilience. Life is so vital. Do whatever you can, combine all the skills that you have, negotiation skills. What you don't want to do is to force them, because what you want is for them to hold the hope for them. You are holding the hope for them. So what they fear, ask them what they fear about going. Somebody put trust in the system. Somebody think when you go, they lock you up and all of that. So start gently. Don't even mention like mental health, hospital or whatever. Start with GP. It's very gentle, it's primary care. So once you get them to see GP can also gently, you know, edge them towards A&E or wherever. But whatever you do, do not give up. If you don't give up and you persist, you persevere, you get somewhere. So it's all about encouraging them, telling them that you don't judge. What they say is happening is what is happening, but it's important. You are not trained as a loved one. What you have is your love, but love goes deeper than any profession, I said. So just encourage them and combine that with love. Get them to primary care first, because they think that is less judgmental rather than, you know, going bad. What I will also say is that if the risk is imminent, if you are overly worried about them, you can always call, and this is as last resort. You can call the police to do welfare check on your loved ones. If they live alone, they are not answering your call, the police are obliged to do that, so they can do welfare check on your loved ones. When they go there, I'm going to tell you something, but don't panic about this. Is last resort. When they go there, they don't have even the right to bring them out. We can pick somebody on section 136 of the Mental Health Act. You can pick them outside in front of their house when they step out. But when they are inside their house, it has to be section 135, which you have to go to court to apply for warrant. So there's a whole lot of legal processes that can be taken, but use your gentle love first. But don't stop there. If that doesn't work, let's move. Let's save life by all means, please. Yeah.
Okay, can I just add to that, Joan?
I'm just going to add as well. Go on.
Yeah.
I just want to add something to that. I've had the experience of working with young people and older people as well. And what I would say, echoing what Belinda said, is have gentle conversation, 2-5 minutes. So someone is overwhelmed and someone's not coping, you notice that, said, you know what, I just have someone for you to talk to, 5 minutes of your time. And what I've noticed with my work with young people is that you give them 5 minutes and they might not come back and say, okay, you know what, I want to leave the room now. Fine, leave the room. Can I come back and see you again? And you start to build a brand. And before you know, once you start to build that rapport, you've got someone just speaking 20-30 minutes. And that also goes for older people as well.
Yeah. Brilliant. Yes.
Thank you very much for that.
And my point as well, that I'm bringing forward with what you stated, a lot of our community are not trusting in the police, and we haven't had a good experience.
Yes.
So that is one of the things that will stop people thinking that I'm not going to take it to the next level.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's we've got to find some other route where there is a trust, and so
Yeah.
therefore we're able to go elsewhere other than the police at this moment.
Yes.
So what would you recommend?
Yes, what I would say is the last thing somebody needs is the police. I agree that as soon as police come in, it sort of it criminalize them, and the mental illness is not a crime, and the way they treat the black, and that also makes things more worse. So what I would say is that there are so many ways that we help people now, and police is the last resort. It is the last resort. So you have to reassure them that we even have home treatment. You see, that people can come to the home and help them. And GP is there, community mental health team is there. And even the charity that I've given is a brilliant charity. It came to my radar very recently, but they are completely independent. So like Natasha May said, it's about encouraging them to let them know that no, it's not police matter. That's what I was saying. The only time you have to involve police is if you are so worried about them and you have no other option. But the steps to take is from primary care, and like Natasha mentioned, you talking to them or calling. Now we have NHS 111 option 2 is for mental health. So when you call NHS 111 option 2, it's got nothing to do with police at all. But they will help.
Just to add to that as well, the even first step, and I've had people done this to me. If you know within your family that you've got someone who's trained, you've got a nurse, you've got an OT, you've got a doctor, ask them to have the conversation with the person in question. That's the first step, because then you start to build rapport and that person starts to open up a little bit, and then together you can support that person too, where there's a GP, primary care, as Belinda said. But if you know your people, you know friends of friends, make that be your first contact, because then you're building that good experience. And that's what it's all about, building good experience so the person can get a good experience, because they may have had that experience themselves with professionals.
Okay, that's fantastic. Thank you very, very much.
Yes, Joan. So we're back to, as usual, as always, it's about the love, compassion, and humanity that we treat ourselves within our families and individuals, you know, and it's about us taking responsibility for ourselves. We do have professionals within our communities, so that's that whole thing around respect, the collaboration, the communication. And it's just the way we behave within ourselves. And there aren't any excuses for those of us who understand. It can be done. And that's the key thing is for us. We know the environment in which we live is a hostile one. We understand that. However, that does not mean that we cannot treat each other with love, compassion, and humanity. And to move away from inflicting self-inflicted wounding within our own families and communities. It really is about our mindset as well. So it's not about blaming anybody, but it's important that we take responsibility for that.
And that's why it was so important to have this particular Zoom event, so people can, you know, and with this isolation, with this lockdown, you know, people are feeling isolated, they're feeling lonely, wondering where can they turn to help. And it's just to drive through the key messages, just like what you said. And I talk about in my walking group all the time, you know, it's about being kind to each other, it's about being caring, you know, and just being positive and upbeat. You know, sometimes we text, we WhatsApp, we email, etc. Pick up the phone, talk to people. Go, if you can today, go through your phone and find 10 people or maybe even 5 people that you haven't spoken to, say, for example, in 6 months, and just say hi, say hello, reach out, you know.
And as I touched on earlier, Joan, and you're right, Joan, but also we have an added challenge, as we touched on earlier on, that within our communities, that we have a lot of people whose job, and they get paid every month, is to provide care to others, whether you're in health, social care, you know, and particularly at the level of frontline workers as healthcare assistants, maternity support workers. And it's important for that group of people within our community again, to start to build relationships amongst themselves, be on forums where they're thinking about their well-being and performance, because their attitude and their dealings with the public, and particularly from our own community, is important as well. And our own community as patients and public, the way we deal with our own people within the system as well, when it comes to relationships, it's really important. It's an area we don't really talk about publicly, but the relationships amongst ourselves, whether as a provider of care or receiver of care, is really important. It does make a difference to all of our well-being. So it's really important. And then going back to the research, it's important, if we're carrying out research, is to put that research into groups, into our forums, so that we can agree a consensus. Okay, reach a consensus on, okay, so what are the priorities then? If there's some areas that we recognize within our communities that need to be addressed, well, let's turn those into plans that we can take actions on. That's really important as well.
Thank you. What I'm going to ask participants to do, if they want to ask any questions, please can you put your hand up and then I'll identify you. And if you could introduce yourself to the panel.
Joan, would you mind if I touched a little? I wanted to just say, touch on one of the points that Belinda mentioned with regards to seeking some support from primary care, and also just how to handle reaching out to your family who aren't as, receptive. There's an acronym known as ALEC. I don't know if you've all heard of it. So the A stands for ask, talk to them, open questions, get them, if they don't open up, you could just ease it into them. And then there's L, the most important thing that Naomi mentioned, listen to what they're saying, but truly listen to how they're saying things. There are usually some cues in there that would give you an idea of what they could potentially be saying in between every word that they're saying, and something more in depth that they're concerned about. You understand? And then encourage, just keep encouraging them as much as possible. At the end of the day, if they feel like they're being heard and that you see them as important, they will trust you more. And finally, keep checking in on them. Keep checking in, especially on your strong friends. They may be hiding their weakness and their insecurities and their pain because they're your strong friends. So that's really important. And then with regards to primary care, genuinely, we are here, we're still here, and we are physically seeing patients. I'm telling you, I think I saw about 20 patients yesterday. So if you are concerned about your loved one's mental health, or if you're concerned about your mental health, call us. We will talk to you. 10 minutes isn't long. I get it. I do sometimes spend much longer, especially with mental health cases, because you're not going to get as much information in the 10 minutes. However, I always book follow-up appointment. And just like Natasha May said, it's all about building a rapport, building that relationship with your doctor, and so that we can be there to support you, because we are, I promise you, we are. And then again, secondary care is there, and Belinda has blown us away with her presentation. They are there as well to give you that extra support where we find it, it's a little way past our specialty. So I just wanted to add that onto the chat. But it's, like Rudy said, it's all about love and compassion, and not dismissing our loved ones when they mention something. Like it might be something as simple as, I don't feel like it today. That might be a cue that they might try and do something,
Yeah, very true, very true. Thank you very, very much. Now, participants, everybody on the platform, if anybody has any questions for our panelists, could you please put your hand up and I will identify you, and you can ask a question, tell us who you are and where you're based, where you're from. That'd be really helpful. So if anyone's got any questions, you can put your hand up. I believe it's so quiet. No, there was lots of questions in the chat. So does anybody want to ask a question to any of the panelists?
Yes, I have a question.
Right, who's this? Sorry.
Joanne.
Joanne. Oh, lovely. And where are you?
I'm from the West Midlands area, Birmingham.
Oh, lovely, welcome. Please go ahead and ask your question to the panelists.
Yeah, hi panelists, hope you're all well. Wanted to ask, I think it was Belinda who mentioned contacting the police. I work voluntarily for an African Caribbean mental health charity in the West Midlands area.
And what's the charity called?
Sorry?
What's the charity called?
They're called Kumba.
Oh, okay.
Kuumba.
Please put it into the group if you when you finished, yeah?
Yes, sure, will do.
Thank you.
I'm absolutely amazed at all the information that the panel's imparted so far. And we're just about actually to set up a mental health group, WhatsApp group, I should say, for the men around the Midlands area, because they've been reaching out and saying basically they've been struggling, which has been really good for them to say that, because usually there's a stigma and a stereotype of I am the man, I am the protector, I am strong, etc. So we thought we'd just put a little WhatsApp group together. But the question I did, it's only just kind of started. The question I did want to ask was that having worked voluntary just one morning a week for the last couple of years or so, with young Black men and women for that matter, we've noticed that when there is an arrest of a young, of an Afro-Caribbean person,
Oh, what's happened there? Joanne, you're gone on mute?
Oh.
I don't know what's happened there, but we're going to go to Judy. Hi, Judy. Would you like to ask your question?
Hi, I'll just be really quick. Thank you all the speakers. I'm in Watford.
Oh,
I'm a drama therapist, so and Natasha May is a very good helper and friend, and yeah, she's just my go-to person, anything to do with mental health and OT. But my question is, I guess, the self-care that came up in quite a few of the slides amongst professionals, and I was just thinking about people who do work in systems and organizations that have an undertone of racism, and when they have not been looking after your needs, whether it's Black Lives Matters, they put up a statement but there's nothing physically happening to help. What encouragement would you give to people working in the helping profession to either navigate self-care or acknowledge that just because your employer's not there to help you, where else can we go? So I'm somebody who's come out of the plantation. I work self-employed. It's the best thing I ever did. But I'm very aware that certain organizations, they just don't care. And if anything, they're more of a catalyst to the trauma that we face day to day with our clients. Quite a loaded question, but I hope someone can answer that.
I can answer that, Joan.
Okay, go ahead.
I spent 20 years.
Not too long because of time.
Yeah. I spent 20 years in this area, and it is, and I touched on at the very beginning in terms of the staff groupings, and there is support and involvement with the unions. And the key thing, particularly around African Caribbean staff within the health system, particularly, is the collaboration amongst themselves. And I've put on the chat room a series of webinars that we do specifically relating to working within the system and some of the things that can be done around self-care and well-being, performance, collaboration, and getting the information and the support that's needed, whether it's disciplinaries, things relating to COVID, being allocated to different roles in this current era and the challenges around that. So I'm happy to speak to you offline in more detail on that.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you, Rudy.
Oh, thank you.
Anybody else want to comment on that? No. Any more questions? Come on, 230 participants on the platform. Anything, Nadia, is there anything in the chat that's come up?
just how everyone is appreciative of what you have put together, Queen Joan. This is a fabulous forum, a platform that definitely has to be repeated, and repeated. So there is lots of appreciation on here for this being organized. So thank you.
I wanted to add one more tip for self-care, if that's okay.
Yes, of course.
So I wanted to say, because everyone is carrying a stress level, and stress, we know there's a healthy stress and unhealthy one, but every stress can be turned into healthy one. So the main thing that we need to remember when it comes to management of our stress at work or wherever is control. First of all, take control of it. Life is exciting when we challenge ourselves. So control, challenge, and support. Remember these three. Every stress that you are going through, control, challenge, and support. Because if we don't challenge ourselves, we'll be regressing. So make sure you are in control of it. Stretch yourself but within your limit, and always support. Support can be anywhere. If your employers are not giving you, reach out. What we are doing this morning is support, and we are there to support each other. It can be not from your work, from church, from friends, wherever, but control, challenge, and support. It can translate every type of stress into a healthy stress. Thank you very much.
Could I finish my question, please? I think I got cut off accidentally.
Oh, right. So you're back. Okay.
Yeah. Sorry about that. I don't know what happened. Yeah, I was basically quickly wanted to say that in our experience working in as a volunteer, what happens is when they arrest a young black man or woman, what the police do, they automatically have get in contact with the mental health team to assess them for mental health, and then they try to detain them. And then that's when they start giving them the depot and trying to control them with injections and all kinds of things. So we have to be extremely, extremely mindful of calling the police. They have an arrangement with the mental health team to put our children away at the first possible call. And we've had multiple experiences of this. They immediately think, right, we don't want them in our system, in the prison system. Let's throw them in the mental health system where we can wear them down, blow them up with depot and all kinds of other different medication, and keep them under control.
Can I answer that quickly, if that's okay? So my experience as a frontliner so far, over 10 years of experience is this: things have improved a lot. Things have changed a lot. And if your loved one is experiencing suicidal thoughts or risk to themselves, that's why I said it's the last option. But when the police pick them up, whether on 136, which is outside the house, or 135 with a warrant inside the house, what they do is they take you to a place of safety, and that place of safety is called section 136. So that can be at a place or at A&E. Now we have AMP. I think we've got somebody on here that is an AMP, approved mental health professional. So for example, if I see someone and I'm worried about them as a nurse, my holding power is only 6 hours, and that even doesn't apply at A&E. It applies on the ward. A doctor has 72 hours, which is 3 days. But we have the approved mental health professionals that will come and assess. So the police, if they bring them because they are risk to themselves, the power is out of their hands. Now the approved mental health professionals, they will assess. It comprises of 2 doctors and a social worker, and the 3 of them will have to agree that the person poses a significant risk to themselves before they can place them under a mental health act. That is last resort. Some people, they assess them and they say, no, they are not sectionable, but they need help. that is where crisis team, we have somebody there that said she used to work in crisis team can come in, or community mental health can come in. So I think that is, things have changed. The prejudice was there, but things are improving. But that's what I would say. It's okay to lose your mind, but please, it's never okay to lose your life. If we become so scared of what is going on in the past, we are not there yet, but if we stop it, then we are putting our loved ones at risk. So let's try all the basic first, but if it doesn't, we shouldn't stop from, you know, reaching out the best possible way, because life is precious, please.
Could I
That's
could I
all
just
I have to say.
could I just say, with regards to the bit where you said respectfully, the
Yeah.
prejudice was there.
Yeah.
The prejudice is still there.
It's
It's still
there.
rampant.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
rampant, and it exists
Yeah, but that doesn't take out the
disproportionately.
importance of seeking help. That is what I want to stress on, that
Yeah.
life is precious. And sometimes this makes us, this is trauma, it's left invisible wounds and scars on us that is hell, it stops us from moving forward. And it is scary, but as long as we have life, it can be fixed. That's what we are doing this morning. So that should not stop us from reaching out. That is what I'm saying, because life is precious.
I think what we really need is our people in our hospitals and our centres, and people reflecting us so they know our cultural needs.
Yes.
And they understand.
Yes.
Because obviously, if you're constantly reaching out to the, I'm going to say in inverted commas, it may be controversial. If we're constantly reaching out to the oppressors who we don't have any trust in, it's very, very, very difficult with all the statistics that we've seen that's been going on disproportionately.
Yeah.
But Joan,
to trust them.
Joan, we have many, many, many healthcare people from our communities in the healthcare system.
We are well represented at the moment.
Yeah, working under that
we have
system.
many groups, voluntary groups within our community. I go back to the love, compassion, and humanity in which we treat ourselves, and not to stigmatize ourselves and take care of ourselves. There's enough of us, and there's enough of us who understand the need. So what we're always saying is that we have to take responsibility for ourselves. That's the point. All Belinda's trying to say is that we have it within ourselves to provide these things.
Everything within us.
Can I just,
NHS
Joan?
belongs to all of us, and we're working in there at every level.
Right,
yes, there are challenges, but we can't separate what our responsibility is to ourselves for what we've got to face.
Thank you, Rudy. Natasha May, you wanted to make a quick point?
Yeah, very quickly. Back echoing what Belinda said, but also to Joan. Joan, the system is slowly changing. I do agree there is still a lot of oppression, but it is changing. And please be aware, I work in the community mental health team, and depot is a last resort for some people.
Yes.
Okay, it really is a last resort. That's number one. Number two, if someone comes in on a mental health act, it can always be challenged. You have a right, you're given your right to challenge. You can then have family members to come in and support, and you can also have mental health advocacy that speaks on behalf of the client. And I've witnessed people being in the section 2, going to tribunal and coming off, because the tribunal panel are independent people away from the clinical team. So I want to give that confidence out there that yes, things are happening, but if people go into the mental health system and they don't need to be there because the risk has now lessened, they will not be held in the hospital unnecessarily. And I just want to say that. Thank you very much.
Great point, Natasha. Again,
one more question before we end.
Let's get involved.
Anybody else want to ask any further questions? They can put their hand up.
This is not a question, this is an agreement.
Okay.
And I'm glad
these
two ladies, it's Rima Toller from Jamaica.
Oh, welcome.
Wow. Welcome.
Even though I've been away for 12 and a half years, though Belinda and the other lady addressed what I was going to say about the comment the lady made about, Black people in the mental health and the depot and, everything. And even because I'm from the Birmingham area, and we work with, from a cultural perspective, and there is a large representation of, Black workers within, that area. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much for that.
Yeah.
I've got Melissa Akina. Hello, Melissa. Where are you from?
Hi, I'm from South London.
Welcome.
I'm a mum of three boys and a lawyer as well. I just wanted some quick advice on maintaining your mental health per se, with responsibilities of motherhood and wifehood and things like that, and work as well.
Okay, who can give us three quick tips?
I can take this one. As an occupational therapist, you've got a mother role, a wife role, and a worker role. Fantastic. But you also need to have you role, because before you became a lawyer, a mother, and a wife, you had you. And you need to carve out, it's back to what I said before, you need to carve out time for yourself, whether it's 5, 10, or 15 minutes. Get into the routine of saying, no, I can't see you right now, or guys, I need 5 minutes, and bring that into your household. Yeah. And then it will start to get easier for yourself. And then you'll be able to widen out the amount of time that you have for yourself, just to check in back with yourself. I think it was Naomi, sorry if I've got your name wrong, getting back into just being you and being still with your own energy. And it's about finding that time. It might just take 5 minutes just to sit and have a cup of tea or meringue tea, wherever it is, but over time you can stretch it out for yourself. And don't feel guilty or ashamed for saying that I need 10 minutes to myself a day.
Thank you for that.
Yeah. Can I speak?
Sorry, who's that?
It's Rima again.
Oh, Rima.
Yes, yet it's so paramount that as women and professional women, you know, we're working so hard, home, you know, we have so many roles that I personally didn't take enough time out for myself, because that's how I was wired culturally. You know, I saw my mother doing that, and it was always the children, you know, you become a non-person, but that's not very good. And it doesn't make you, and it takes away a lot from the enjoyment of raising your family, and life becomes very hard, and that's when you get burnt out.
Thank you.
Can I just add something to that question, how you can balance your life, add to what Natasha May has said. So if you group your burden into 3, you realize that you have taskmaster, trying to tick everything. Dr. Sesay made us do that. Taskmaster, worry work, and housework. If you group them into 3 main, it's taskmaster, trying to get everything together, worry work, and housework. These 3, try to delegate those that you can without affecting your outcome. Delegation is everything. The worry work is how you worry about the children and the husband and everything. Can the husband do that? Housework, delegate those that you can. And then taskmaster is your lawyer bit. Delegate to people. Delegation helps a lot. Self-compassion and kindness goes a long way. So that it's all about self-management. So Natasha, like she said, but you really need to consider delegation, because we are not superhuman. Yeah, we are queens, are not superhuman. Yeah.
Sorry, good morning. Can I just say something very quickly? First of all, thank you so much for this platform, because it's helped me so much.
Who is that?
My name's Diane. I live in Brent, and I'm just going to share very quickly with you. And I connected with Rudy yesterday for the very first time, and it's not through him I found myself on the platform, so I was meant to be here. I lost my mum and dad and my husband, all 3, in 2018. Okay, so I lost my mum and dad within 24 hours of each other. This was in May 2018. I lost my husband, passed away, so I buried him on the 15th of June. On the 16th of July in the evening, my mum passed away, and then the following morning, my dad. So they're all 3 behind you, because up until 2018, okay, I've always lived with people, whether it be my mum, my dad, or my husband. But I've come from a foundation of love. This word here, love, it means so much to me. So now I'm a Sunday school teacher. I've grew up in the church. My faith is so strong. I didn't know my husband was going to pass away. Didn't know anyone was going to pass away. They all had their health issues. I remember saying to my husband, my faith has never been as strong. I'm involved with so many things in the community, Health Watch, the council. I'm on the journey of
Diane, my darling, do you have a question? Because I'm conscious of the time.
No, I'm just going to say, I have no question. My husband used to say I could talk for England. I'm just going to say thank you, gratitude, yeah. So more of these events. So I'm no question. I just wanted to share my journey and give people encouragement. So thank you, Joan. I'll be.
Thank you, Diane.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. I've got Ange McDonald who'd like to ask a quick question. I'm conscious of the time.
Hi, it's Ange McDonald from South London. I'll be very quick. Just a quick question on the older generation. So how do we support the older generation? So for example, an individual who clearly has mental health issues, but is so far down the line, you know, they're probably in their 70s, doesn't recognize that they have any mental health issues and is very much old school thought that this thing doesn't exist. So it'd be good to hear what somebody has to say around that.
Dr. Sesay?
Is that about dementia?
Aziza?
No, it's not dementia. It's through problems they've had in their life, but has the old school thought that mental health issues don't exist. And so is unwilling to recognize that they have a mental health issue.
Okay, he would
like. How do we encourage them to seek the medical support from us in order to get the healing that they need?
They have been asked to visit and get help, but because they don't recognize it at all, they're not getting the help. It's a bit like telling someone they've got a cold when they clearly feel they don't have a cold. They won't see the support.
It's a difficult one because one thing that we have to give individuals is their autonomy, and also we assess their capacity. So if they have the insight and they have the capacity, and they, they are point blank refusing, we as health professionals cannot force it. However, we've had this discussion about trying to encourage gently and, raise awareness. You can do things subtly, whether it's, putting things on TV that may hint or show them associations that they didn't realize. But if they have capacity and they have the insight, it does make it hard. We can't force it unless they're a danger to themselves and to other people. I don't know if Belinda has any further tips.
Yeah, that is all that you've said, Dr. Sesay. So it's about insight and capacity, the ability to make informed decisions. But then rebranding, repackaging the problem can sometimes help. So instead of even saying mental health, because of culture and everything, it's just too much for them. Repackage it. Okay, wrap it, just wrap it in a different way, because sometimes when it's anxiety, when it comes to little ones, it's about their tummy. It can manifest as a tummy problems and things like that. So repackage it. Is it about how they remember things? Is it about their memory? Is it about not? So instead of saying mental health, repackage, represent it, and see the approach. For all you know, once it's repackaged, you'll be able to. But I always say that nobody fits a textbook, so use combination of methods and skills to get them. All things are possible if we don't give up, but repackage it. How you sell it to them, repackage it and see if that will yield results. Yeah.
Lovely, thank you very
Carol,
much.
one more question. So Carol L, would you like to ask your question? You're the last question, my darling. Carol L.
Sorry, Joan, that's me. I don't think I put my hand up, or if I did, sorry.
That's all right.
Well, I think we're going to bring this morning's session to an end. Can I thank all my fantastic, brilliant presenters for being on the platform. You have shared a wealth of knowledge, and I think we're going to have to do this again. I say this every time after each Queen's event. I think we're going to have to do this again, because it's just such a, it's so massive, the whole topic around mental health, and this is a good starting point for us, and it's basic. We need to talk. Yeah, we really need to talk. And I really hope this morning has been a good starting point, a good conversation for all of us to, hit this Saturday. We're going to finish here. We're going to go out, talk to people. Yeah. When we go for our walk, me and my group, we say morning to everybody. That's like we're You know, go out and just even say, morning, hello, yeah? Just give out that love and that positive vibration, yeah? And it will come back.
It will come back, yes.
They come back.
Yes, they probably run and think, oh, she said hello to me. But, you know, so what? Yeah. Go out and just be, you know, just be yourself, be your true self, you know, love others. So on this morning, thank you, my list, Natasha May, Rudy, Aziza, Naomi, Belinda, you rock. This is the third
Thank you for having me.
Rock.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jen. Amazing queen. Thank you for having me. Thank you, guys. Nice meeting you all. Thank you.
Yeah, we are connected now. We are connected now.
Like we're a family.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
One more for me.
Together.
Everyone wants to ensure they've got details for all the panelists. So just a reminder, I know that Rudy's been repeating his, but if everyone can just ensure that they have put some contact details in the chat so everyone can pick up the ones that they want to contact. That would be great. Thank you.
Yeah, I know they've been posting. I will even post my details. Again, anybody who wants to come walking in Southeast London.
I think I'm going to do that then.
Yeah. Book me up. We have some beautiful walks. Yeah, and it's not just about talking. It's just nice. We talk and we share things.
Yeah.
Just putting my number in here. 712. Yes. So next week's it's going to be Queens in Conversation, and it's Queens Black Hair Rocks with Big Nanny and Couture Locks.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's a spin-off from the first Queens event that we did, Queens Black Hair Rocks. So next week, it's one of the events I'll be doing again on the Zoom platform. So it's Queens in Conversation, Queens Black Hair Rocks in Conversation with Big Nanny Hair Products and Couture Locks. Yeah, so I hope you'll all get, well, that's going to be, oh wow. I mean, the last hair event we did, it was just absolutely phenomenal. So that's the first of the spin-offs from the first event that we did. But guys, have a fantastic Saturday. I think I need to go and look about my soup now. It's under fire. Yes, early. You know, but you've had an opportunity. So if anybody wants to ask any questions, you know, please ask. Don't be shy. You know, I'll even say you can ask a question with your camera off, because, you know, if anybody wants to ask anything, because we're here to help and support each other. And, you know, we had a brilliant panelist here this morning. You know, our frontline NHS workers, you know, they've taken time out to, you know, come and share their expertise, their knowledge. I mean, I'm in awe. As I said, I'm so humbled, you know, because it's not easy in the NHS now. It's not easy. So, and the key as well to remember, everybody, that there is help and support out there. You know, please don't, you know, suffer in silence. And as individuals, if we haven't spoken to anybody or heard from anybody in a little while, pick up your phone or go around to their yard, go around to their house, knock on their door, check in on them, you know. Even sort of style it out and say, well, I was just passing, even if you come from one end of the borough to another end. You know, just knock and say you're passing, how are you?
Yeah.
That one person they see for the whole day, it might be the one person you see for the whole week.
Yeah.
They're seen for the whole week. Yeah. So people know me, it really is about, you know, we've got to have more of that love in the community and that love in the community. And if we don't do it, nobody else is going to do it. And let's not get to when it's a crisis. Yeah. Let's not get to when it's a crisis. And my mother always said, prevention is better than cure. Yeah.
That's Mrs. Bailey.
Oh, yeah. You know, mommy, innit? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, prevention is better than cure. So, you know, we have to be, you know, more, as I said, more, you know, just just kind of like, be more cohesive. Look at how many people's on the platform this morning, and even though I said it's bye, go and cook on the soup, yes, whole spirit time, people are still here, and it does show the testament and the power of, social media and these platforms. So we need more platforms like this. Please, hook up with the speakers.
Yeah.
Doing phenomenal things as well in their own right. There's other workshops you can tap into, seek out the knowledge, seek out, to become empowered. I'm doing this, and I'm just doing this really for my Queen's walking group, because we can't walk. Normally 8 o'clock in the morning, we are out walking, and they love it. They love it. And let me see who's in the group, if any of my queens are here. I know Carol's here. Ah, Mary. I can see Miss Patricia. Hi. I can see Miss Patricia. Who else is here from my walking? Denise, my queen. Hi, Denise. Any of my other queens here? Miss Josie. I love dancing star girl. Hi, good morning. Carol L.
Morning.
She was going
Morning.
to ask a question, but she didn't ask a question. Lana. Hi, my darling. Yvonne, yes. Elaine. Oh, goodness, I'm going to get up early this morning. Wonderful, wonderful. Lovely to see you all. Some of you I can't see. Wonderful. Can I thank my wonderful co-host as well? Nadia, you are amazing, darling. Thank you so much for looking at the chat.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you. And to Rudy James, he's also there in the background helping us to just make this thing run slick and on point. So thank you, Rudy. You are a star. Yvette, I've just seen Yvette. Yvette's got no camera on, but welcome, Yvette. Thank you, my darling, for the support. Hope you're well. Elaine Bailey, I can see you. You need to come walking with us. I haven't seen you for months, my dear. Yes, they're all here. They're all here. So mental health. I hope you all found it a powerful session, an informative session, and I hope you're going to take away these gems into your everyday life. Natasha May is going to send me some information. So if you need anything, let me know. And before anybody asks me, I am not sending out the recording because it's too difficult. I don't know what happens when we send it out via the link. So we're actually going to pull together the Queen's series, and it will be about 6 shows. So we've already done Queen's Black Hair Rocks. We've done Queen's We Ain't Crazy, it's only the menopause. And today we've done the mental health element. So these will be all grouped together with another 3, what I call episodes. And these will be going up onto YouTube. It's a platform that's easily accessible to all. And, you'll be able to watch it at your own leisure. Yeah, so we will not be sending out the links or anything like that. And then I get 100 emails or more that it's not working. Yeah, you don't want me to start having mental health problems now, do you? So, we're going to not do that.
Oh, bless you.
We're going to put it up on YouTube, and then everybody can, watch all these amazing, magnificent platforms in all their glory.
Amazing.
All right.
Amazing. Thank you, Jane. Thank you.
Thanks, Jane. We didn't get any alarms, did we, Natasha?
We didn't. You know why? Because I moved the room. I know, right? Because I moved to a different room with all the task force behind me. So it's all good. And you know what? As I said, Joe, this is what I love to do. I train to do this, and it comes from the heart. I do this naturally. Anyone that knows me, I do this naturally. So it's absolutely an honor to be on this platform. I'm so glad I took that jump as well. So glad that I did.
You was about to kind of like.
We had to. I was. The anxiety was coming over me, but with your coaching and your guidance, I'm here today, and I look forward to more networking with you.
Do it. And this is the thing, you see, this is what's so magnificent about these platforms, and one of the main reasons why I'm doing it is, and I say it all the time, it's about doing events for us, by us, honestly. You know, and we need to see, you know, I mean, I think, to be honest, I think you must be the first occupational therapist of colour that I've met. Because I know when I broke my toe and I was up at King's, I didn't see any. So, do you know what I mean?
There's plenty of us around, and there's a whole world of OTs that I'm connected with that works in different areas, from mental health to pediatric to the whole. We've got it covered. So we just need you. Contact Natasha May, and you have a wealth of OTs. I think even one of my girls on here, Caroline, she's working in social services now. But we've got a Black BAME OT, and I'm also part of a BAME aligned health profession. We've got OTs, physios, and speech therapists. So we're coming. We're coming, and we're here. So just hook us up, we're here.
But it's about seeing people in these positions, you know, and that in itself breaks down the fear as well when you try and engage with services.
Representation matters.
Well, it really does. It really
We just need to collaborate amongst ourselves.
For sure.
We are at every level within the system. Across all professions, all of the different service areas, we're there. But again, it's us being able to collaborate in our own interest with ourselves.
And that's what it's about. So, you know, as my mother would say, as long as I have health and strength, I will try my best to sort it. But what I will say, when we start back walking, I don't know how I'm going to manage.
You will.
Walking is the passion. Walking is the passion.
Just keep the focus, and let's start just bringing everyone together. As I said, there's a wealth of OTs, Black OTs like myself that's out there. Next time we connect, they'll be on the platform. As I said, Caroline's just bigged me up right now. She's on the platform. So there's OTs out here, guys. So yeah, we're here.
Fantastic. And it's just so nice, you know, having yourself, you know, Belinda's Black mental health nurse, you know, you know, a GP, you know, coming and talking to us, because it's about being on a level, you know, it's about, you know, who we can connect with and who we can identify with and who understands our struggles and our fears. So, you know, I will be putting on more events, you know, about different topics, but mental health, I know it's really, really key now, because as I said, you know, we're in lockdown. And I hope, you know, everyone's, you know, been making notes, you know, please, you know, making note, you know, taking that stuff out of the chat. And I know everybody's been putting things into the chat. Right, we're at 10:51. So I'm going to give, and yeah, if anybody wants to put anything else into the chat, I'm going to sign off at 10:55. So you've got 3 minutes.
3 minutes, people, get your question in.
So you want to give me one good tip. I'm going to let you all give one good tip before I sign off around mental health. One good tip. Something that can be easily incorporated into your everyday routine or life.
Okay, I always give this tip because it's actually a tip that's recognized and it's encouraged. Please, if everyone could try and do at least 30 minutes of exercise. And again, it doesn't have to be anything strenuous. It could be walking. It could be just being in your lounge, watching a YouTube exercise video. 30 minutes, 5 times a week.
Fantastic.
Get your body going. Get those endorphins, those happy hormones. Get your body stretching, your bones stronger. It will make you happy as well. It's a stress reliever. That's right.
Look at my shoulders. Look at how strong I am.
Oh, you look good.
Yes, I can see. Keep it great.
Yeah, exercise is key.
The tip that I would give, and I walked with it today, and Joan will validate this, is tuning in to that negative chatter. Okay, that mental chatter that we have going on like a washing machine. Tune into it. And then my favorite one, stop it. Yeah, that's it. Tune into that mental chatter and stop it and carry on. Yeah. And when you get like that, find people that you can speak to. You know, this is how I'm feeling. Talk to people. And I've given you 2 tips. I'm not going to keep my goodness to myself now, but okay, mental chatter alongside the exercise. And guys, you're on the path to like recovery. Yeah.
Fantastic. Naomi, do you have a tip for us?
Yes, I do. Sorry, I was putting them in the group. And so I took advantage of doing many tips. So one of the ones that I have is juicing. So if you're not a juicer, I really recommend, I teach lots of classes. Juicing is the best way of food is kind of nutritionally void. So juicing means that we get all of those raw enzymes quickly to the cells, helping your hair, your body, your sleep. You'll really notice the difference. So I really suggest juicing. That's what I put. And so a few more as well. But juicing, please get a juicer. I've got a nice slow juicer.
Yeah. Yeah,
I echo that. I do juicing. I'm part of my group. I do a juicing fast every so often, and I definitely echo that for the any level near me. Definitely echo that. Definitely.
I've got a masticating juicer. So
Oh,
me
too.
Oh,
Check us out. Check us out.
Yeah, they're good.
Belinda, do you have one tip you can share with us before we go, darling?
Okay, so I think what I will add is that whatever you do, whatever we do in life, we should stay encouraged. Discouragement will come for all of us, but as long as we don't stay down and pick ourselves up, we should stay encouraged. We should be curious. We grew with it, we crawled with it, we walked with it, but at some point in time, we lose the curiosity. Once curiosity is gone, life is not exciting. Stay curious. And the third is hope. Hope, that waiting room, incremental hope. Let's keep the hope going, and let's hope for others as well. That's all I can say. Thank you.
My darling. Rudy, do you have a gem for us?
Yes, you've heard me say it so many times. Treat each other and ourselves with love, compassion, and humanity. That's all we've got to do. Simple. Love, compassion, and humanity. Collaborate within ourselves. Yeah.
Right, 10:55. Guys, have an awesome Saturday. Thank you. Thank you, panelists. Thank you,
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Bless
Thank you, everyone. Nice meeting you all. Happy Saturday.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Presentation.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, and bye-bye. And I hope we have another film like this soon.
We will. You're part of the Queens. Rock.
Hi, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Joan. You're awesome.
Thank you so much, Joan. You are wonderful.
Oh, thank you. God bless you.
You're worth your wait. God bless you. See you later.
Yeah.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you, Joan.
Thank you.
Bye. Oh, Josie, what was that? What was the juicer you said you mentioned, please?
Masticating juicer.
Masticating.
Yeah,
masticating.
A masticating juicer is the one that slowly squeezes out all the juices. The other one, it spins fast, but you don't get all the juices out.
Okay,
So
can you
go for
recommend
masticating
a
juicer?
certain make?
I can't remember the make. My make, I've got it downstairs.
Okay.
You've got yours, Joan?
I bet think mine's got a make on it. Hold on. Let me go.
I bought one of those.
Oh.
Give me a couple of seconds.
I think Joan's just gone to check her one.
You Google masticating juicers and you might get a list of brands.
Yeah, that's the way to do it. I've got a juicer, but I'm not sure it's a masticating.
It's got Monzana at the side.
Monzana.
Yeah, MONZZA. Monzana.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, but it's good. Very, very good. Ladies, make sure you go out walking, please. 20,000 steps. You know the motto. Know the mantra. And when we start back, it's 25,000.
I'm going to come and join your group.
It's mine's are called electric Q. It's electric with a Q.
Oh, okay.
And it's a little short. It's a small.